I'm going to open the Mount Diablo Unified School District Governing Board meeting for April 27th. First thing we're going to do is do our Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll still join me in standing, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Having said that, I would like to announce that tonight, for the record, this meeting is being conducted pursuant to Government Code Section 54953B concerning teleconferencing of meetings. Our trustee Mayo is participating in a meeting by speakerphone from 222 Vineyard Avenue in Ontario, California. In accordance with the Brown Act, this location has been identified on the agenda for this meeting. I would now like to ask Trustee Mayo to respond to the following questions. Are you able to hear our proceedings on this end?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a copy of the agenda for this meeting?
Yes, I do.
Has the agenda been posted at your location?
Yes, it has.
Is your location such that any member of the public could participate in the public portion of the teleconference meeting from your location?
Yes, they certainly can.
And now for members of this board, are you all able to hear Trustee Mayo?
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Fowler?
Here.
Trustee Cound?
Here.
Vice President Zawi?
Here.
Trustee McFerrin?
Here.
Trustee Mason's here, so we are all here and ready to go. The next thing on our agenda will be, I think, the report out of the agenda, or approval of the agenda. Approval of the agenda. Any changes suggested to our agenda at this time? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to accept our agenda as posted.
Madam President, I move that the board approve the agenda as presented.
A second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And all of the, if you didn't hear, all of the votes will be on roll call because of the fact that we have a trustee teleconferencing. So Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
Trustee Cound?
Yes.
Trustee McFerrin?
Yes.
Trustee Zawi?
Yes.
Trustee Mayo?
Yes.
And Trustee Mason votes yes. And we're also voting electronically. Okay. Report out from actions taken in closed session. 7.1 negotiations. The board may discuss negotiations or provide direction to its representatives regarding represented employees pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. On this item, the board received information. 7.2 discipline, dismissal, release, or reassignment of public employment, Government Code Section 54957B1. In closed session by a vote of 5-0, the board took action to dismiss employee ID number 30849. That concludes our closed session, which takes us to public comment. The public may address the board regarding any item that's not on the agenda. Items will have, speakers will have 3 minutes per item. They cannot yield their time. Reminder that during public comment, we're able to listen and take your concerns into account, but we do not ask questions unless it's for clarification or get into conversations. So our first speaker is Yvette Marari. Hold on for a minute while we turn on your mic. Oh, it's on? We're going to fix it here.
Hello.
Here you go.
Okay. My name is Yvette Maruri. I'm a parent of a senior student at Ignacio Valley High School, an alum from the class of 1994, and have served on the PTSA as vice president and treasurer. For the last couple months, I have been meeting with students to listen to their concerns. In these meetings, I have heard many accounts of abuse by the hands of Principal Pike and this district. Let me share several concerns with you. At YV, students have been denied access to restrooms. They're constantly being yelled at by campus supervisors to get to class while trying to find an open restroom or retrieve items from their locker. And Principal Pike has been using excessive force, like slamming a student against the lockers, tackling students to the ground, and putting them in military-like holds while using his entire body weight to hold them down. He has been traumatizing students with this military-style discipline and tactics. This is evident when we watch videos where classmates scream in terror for him to get off a student after he has tackled someone down. I understand that this is a response during student altercations. However, excessive force is never the answer. It seems like the school needs a principal with expert skills in de-escalation and mediation, not an active military person trained for war zones. These are students who are supposed to be nurtured to succeed in school, not treated like criminals. We're supposed to be eliminating institutional racism in our schools that have put students on school to prison pipelines, not preparing them for prison. We need staff like Coach Luke or Miss Jenny back on campus who are compassionate, show empathy and kindness, have mediation skills, are approachable, and students can identify with them because they are people of color. I'm most concerned with I'm most concerned because these conditions are causing high levels of depression in our students. On top of all this, the Wellness Center has not been functioning as it should, leaving it ineffective for students. These issues need to be addressed. We have seen in the last couple of weeks what happens when it's all ignored and people who try to speak out are silenced. Last night at the town hall, I sat and listened to school officials and police talk about creating more of a police state at the school. After as a community, we have failed our children so much to have reached this point. I still believe we can do better than locking down the school and criminalizing our children. I believe we can provide them with an environment of love and safety that allows them to grow and succeed as kind, loving, and happy human beings. Please tell me that there is a better way for our children.
Thank you. Cora Mitchell?
Hello. I'm also here to speak on behalf of students at Ignatia Valley and parents as well who are concerned about the conditions there. This is a Title I school, and the thought of children not having access to bathrooms seems not only inhumane, but like a terrible PR issue for this district, if that is in fact the case. These sound like they're ongoing problems, and I would hope that the board would conduct some sort of an investigation into this. In addition to it being a Title I school, it is also an IB school, so there are other avenues for oversight. And I'm hoping that the board will be responsive and it doesn't have to escalate beyond here. Thank you.
Thank you. Addie Olvera?
Good evening, Adi Olvera, Concord resident. I have 2 children in the Mount Diablo Schools District system. My daughter, who is here with me, raise your hand, goes to Sequoia Middle School, 6th grade, and my son Abe, raise your hand, 3rd grader, Monte Gardens. I was really distressed to hear from the parent at Ignacio Valley High that the principal there was tackling students and using neck hold, military-like holds to de-escalate fights, which was not a real de-escalation technique. Not being known for mediation skills, mostly just sees a fight, uses his military skills to tackle students and separate kids. I'm also aware that at Mount Diablo High, the school that my daughter and my kid will go to, they have similar problems with fights, with no support for counseling or very little mental health and coaching and guidance. They need more of this and less cops responding to fights at school, where we're showing kids that that's the only solution, is to put people and arrest the kids or people, arrest them, and normalizing those patterns. So let's not work with the city of Concord to criminalize our children. Let's work with mental health professionals, social workers, caseworkers to build good habits, communication skills in our schools and open the damn bathrooms. I would hate to see that, you got your little bathrooms inside your office or down the hall. They don't. And at YB, kids are being sent to detention for roaming the halls. Why are they roaming the halls? Because they're looking for a bathroom. And then they have to serve detention for that? That's not fair. You're punishing kids that don't deserve that. And my daughter has also told me that at Sequoia School, there's long lines to get into the bathroom. And another parent at Sequoia Middle School told me that her daughter doesn't get to eat because the lines are so long in the bathroom. So this is happening at other schools. And parents are not trusting the school system anymore. I worry about my daughter going to high school. I want her to feel safe, that there'll be bathrooms when she needs it, and that cops aren't going to be showing up to hurt her or her friends. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Looks like we might have more. Teresa Burgum.
Here to talk in the Teamster Union time about 17.7. I had written into the board, hopefully you did read that. It's really, the timing could not be worse for this position to be brought to the board. We've been working really, really hard with HR and our department in trying to do some salary schedules and whatnot. This comes across as a matter of, bad faith in what we're supposed to be accomplishing. And I just am begging you to, at the risk of sabotaging any of our talks, Mark, I'm just begging you to postpone approving this position. It's not necessary, it's lofty. And there's just so many problems in our department right now that really need to be looked at and really need to be fixed before we start adding on more burden to the department. So I would really appreciate that.
Hello, staff. Hello, members. My name is Gloria, and I'm also from food service. And good afternoon to all. First, I want to acknowledge the work that the board and the union undertook in settling the contract. It was a long process that brought both sides to an agreeable contract. This brings to mind the business term of solvency, where a company such as Mount Diablo meets its long-term debts and financial obligations. But solvency is also an important measure of financial health, and one way of demonstrating that this is Mount Diablo's ability to manage its operations into the foreseeable future. Operations in foreseeable futures are a bit disheartening when word is said of new Mount Diablo position being created with a 6-figure salary. Does that figure consist of a combined salary and benefits? I don't know, but I do know that both sides must have transparency. Additionally, it comes to our financial obligations. I must remind the board members that there are current Mount Diablo food staff who are still at low wages. Some have been here for decades. They are part of Mount Diablo's debts and financial obligations. You see, should they begin to feel undervalued or a lack of sense of belonging, there is the risk of their departure, a departure of skill and knowledge. Mount Diablo will have to go through the hiring process and training, and how much will that cost compared to retaining those employees? So I implore you to bring those employees to a comparable wage instead of creating a new position. Which do you value? Please, we beg you, we beg you to please do not go forward with this new high salary position. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori Nakamura? Did I mess that up too bad?
Good evening. I'm Laura Nakamura. I'm a Concord resident. I have lived in Concord for over 30 years, and I'm here in solidarity with the students from Ignacio Valley, as well as Mount Diablo, when we hear about their bathroom situations. And I am excited about the new law that's been passed for feminine hygiene products to be in the schools in the upcoming year. I did hear outside while I was waiting to come in that that's something that has been missing from the bathrooms. And one student was like, wow, I didn't even think that was supposed to, they have never even seen that happen. One thing that I want to share with you is that this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, I was out at Pine Hollow with a bike lane and crosswalk pop-up out in front of Ignacio, Pine Hollow and Highland on Pine Hollow Road. It was really exciting to see how the intersection and the bike lane was just erected in a couple hours so that it was time for the students who were doing the walk and roll to school to use it. And there was a lot of excitement there at the school generated with that. And one of my jobs this morning was to stand at the intersection of Pennsylvania and Pine Hollow. And I was horrified by the situation there because of the traffic, the three-way traffic, and the students and the bikes and the parents, and no crossing guards. And I was told by parents that this is something that the school can't afford, and it's something that the city won't provide. I'm just hoping we can figure out how to create a safer intersection over there in that area, because one of the first things I did is I called for a police officer because they were there to just kind of monitor the situation. I'm like, we need someone over here to watch what's happening. Couple near misses, and I just hope that we can figure out how to get our kids safely to school. Otherwise, the biking and walking is just not going to happen no matter how many bike lanes we put up. Thank you.
Thank you. Ellie Hernandez?
Hello, my name's Ellie Hernandez. I talk very good English, but I'd rather talk Spanish just because I'm going to put a lot of emphasis on my Spanish better. So, buenas noches, mi nombre es Ellie Hernández. Fui estudiante de Ignacio Valley, soy graduada del 2001 y tuve una hija en Ignacio Valley porque creía que la escuela, creo en la escuela, pero ahorita con el principal se me hace un poco muy difícil creer en su sistema y en su modo de tratar a nuestros hijos. Conmigo empezó desde noviembre. Fui con él por ayuda porque mi hija fue pateada en la cabeza en el deporte, obviamente. Y le dije que pues, si podíamos hablar con la principal de Concord High, y hasta la fecha no ha sido resuelto ese problema. Después fueron los baños y después fueron todas las peleas. Obviamente no hablé con el principal sobre los baños porque pensé que él los iba a abrir y tenía una poquita más de fe, pensando que él tiene hijos en el distrito. Pero ya estamos al final del año y no ha hecho nada. Vi pleitos y él tampoco resolvió los problemas. Me acuerdo que el principal anterior era tan amable, tan bueno. Tenía una comunicación con varios de los niños y se emprendió todos los nombres de cada uno. Este señor nomás los ve de pie a cabeza. Mi hija no se siente seguro con él. Ha dicho que la ha visto de una manera que no le gusta. y yo no siento que eso es una seguridad para mi hija. La otra son los de los problemas que él ha tomado bajo su carta. Jamás nos ha informado, al igual que el otro principal, día a día nos tenía al tanto de todo. ¿Desde cuándo ha tenido seguridad privada? Porque desde lo que yo escuché anoche, el superintendente dijo que desde el lunes tenía estas personas, pero he escuchado estudiantes que ya los tenía desde antes. ¿Cuándo nos dejaron saber? Apenas hasta el lunes nos dejaron saber, o el viernes en la tarde, después de que un niño llevó su arma, pero ya tenían sospecha y no hacía nada. La seguridad y la vida, no nomás de nuestros hijos, pero también de sus colegas estaban en medio, que también tienen familia y también tienen hijos, también tienen que proveer a su casa. Y quisiera saber qué van a hacer con el principal, porque en mi persona yo lo quiero fuera de esa escuela.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Okay, so my name is Eli Hernandez. I graduated from National Valley High School back in 2001. Now my daughter is going to the school as well because I believe in the school, but with the new principal and the system he has at his way of dealing with the children, I'm not so sure anymore. I asked the principal for help because my daughter was kicked in the head one time during sports, of course, and I wanted to get a talk with the Concord Heights principal, but we never find a resolution about that. And after that is the issue with the bathrooms and all the fighting. And I don't agree with bathrooms being closed. I think they should be open. But right now I have very little faith because I had some faith because I knew that he had kids in the district, but so far we haven't found a solution for the fighting. And the past principal was so kind and so good, and the way he talked to the children, he learned each of the students' name. And this guy, he just looks at the kids up and down. My daughter says that he doesn't like the way that he looks at her. She doesn't feel safe around him. And these issues have never been addressed. And we were informed that there was private security at the school just last Monday afternoon, but we've heard from the students that they've been there since before. So I just want to know when were the private security hire and when was it that we were informed. I think they informed us right after the issue with the student with the gun. And this is the safety and the life of our kids, but also the safety and the life of your colleagues. And they also have families and homes that they want to go to. So I want to know what is going to be done about this principle.
Thank you. Serena Saldivar.
Hi, my name is Sirena Saldivar. I'm from Ignacio Valley High School, and I'm a senior. And I want to speak about a specific incident with Mr. Pike involving another fight. My friend was protecting a girl, a friend of his, and there was an altercation, and one of the boys threw a punch at him, and he did not put his hands on the other boy, but Mr. Pike ran in and tackled him into the locker. This traumatized him so much he didn't come back to school, and he decided to do online. And his friend felt unsafe with having Mr. Pike around and decided to switch schools. And this is not the first incident that Pikes, as you know, has touched children inappropriately. He is a principal, and we're children, and we should not be tackled down. That's not appropriate in a school setting specifically, or anywhere. Children should not be treated like that. And I feel like something should be done with this. I don't think he should be reprimanded. I think he should be fired. That's inappropriate. And we know what a principal looks like. We've had a good principal before, and this is not a good principal. And a lot of my peers are uncomfortable to come to school because of him. He's never been kind. He's very, I can't find the word right now, but he is just not a kind person, and he should not be around kids. So if you could please listen to other folks and their comments about Mr. Pike and consider firing him, that would make a big change for our campus and the students that go to YB. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that concludes our public comment, and I just want to reiterate that we are here to listen, and so that's what we're doing this evening. Thank you. Next would be communications, district organizations at regular board meetings. A single spokesperson of each recognized district organization may make a brief presentation. Items are limited to those which are informational. Mark Jones.
Good evening, board.
I thought you were turning in another card. Now you have notes. Huh?
No, this is my note. I never really come prepared. You know the truth. I say I'm going to wing it, but these are my bullet points.
Okay.
So I wanted to get to first of all to 17.5 our salary schedule that we've been working long and hard for. I really just want to give sort of an extra thank you, and again, congratulations to all the hardworking people that. Our negotiating team, some of our negotiating team is here tonight that put in all the hard work. Dr. Rubio as well. I gotta say, when he got involved in our negotiations, it really was sort of the turning point which allowed us to get to the movement that we needed. So I just wanted to recognize that as well, because I think recognition needs to come where it's due. You've heard from a couple of our members tonight on Article 17.7, which is a concern of theirs. Understandably so, they're a little bit coiled up. Because of sort of the past things, and one of the things we got into our contract or rather our agreements was a side letter of agreement that's going to be looking at salaries and looking at the hours worked and everything, and we're having some good talks towards that way, but understandably so. Another management position with that sort of salary range has got our members a little bit nervous. So I would maybe implore the board to look at the information tonight and make a decision after you've had it all, because we only learned about it on Friday night when it hit the agenda. So you know, it would be nice to have those conversations to say, hey, this is what's going to happen, so that we don't have to have a visceral reaction, especially if it's a good idea, and maybe we don't know, just because that's the way it was presented to us. The last 10.7, we're going to have a food service hero recognition today. That's wonderful, and I agree, should absolutely be recognized. One last thing, I just want to sort of inform the district that Juneteenth is coming up, and hasn't been recognized. It's not something that we were able to get into our last contract, but it's something that needs to be recognized, and a lot of school districts around are starting to recognize it as well. So I think it'd be really a great move if that comes to us through the district. But we are back at the table in December, and we'll go for it there. But we don't have to. That's my point, to say that, and probably we shouldn't have to. So that's all I would like to say tonight. Thanks again for everything, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Okay, recognitions and resolutions. 10.1, approval and appointment of student board 21-22-65 order of, no, I skipped, is that right? Nope. Member for 2022-23, Dr. Clark.
So this item is coming before the board. We went through a lengthy process. I think that we all can recognize the value of having student voice on the board, and being able to bring concerns of students throughout the district to the board and to the cabinet and district leadership has been you know, has been very, you know, worthwhile and very valuable. Trustee Fowler has just impressed everyone with her poise and her dedication and her commitment to her position. And so what I would like to do here is I would like to have Trustee Fowler introduce our new student board member and kind of kick this item off.
Would you like me to move the item as well?
Sure.
Okay. I move to approve the appointment of Anahi Nava-Flores, the student board member for the 2022 to 2023 school year.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Take it away. Introduce her to us.
Did you want to come up here? I just wanted to say your application was really, really strong. I talked with the student advisory committee and I after we interviewed you and all of the other candidates that moved on to the next round, and you really stood out to us. We really valued your opinion in the 15-minute interview that I had with you, with my other members, and you're beyond fit for this position, and I'm really, really happy that we appointed you this year. Thank you.
I'd like to briefly introduce myself. My name is Anaí Nava-Flores, a student at Mount Diablo High School, also president of the Social Justice Club, and I'm most proud to say that I am part of the Architecture, Construction, and Manufacturing and Engineering Academy, also known as ACME. I look forward to working with you all and will ensure that with my position in the school board, that we achieve social justice within the school and educational system, and finally see a day where we all have the basic needs and have the state-of-the-art technology that we need to thrive and be successful, not only in our educational journey, but also in any college and career that we choose to be a part of. Thank you.
We're now going to take the official vote. Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
Trustee Count?
Yes.
Trustee Nzewi?
Before I say yes, I just wanted to thank Trustee Fowler for the process that you did, because, you know, my daughter is quiet, but she got off of last week's meeting, or if it was last week or the week before, to tell me all about every candidate. And so I appreciated the opportunity that you had for students to be involved in evaluating who would next represent them. And with that, I give a resounding yes.
Trustee McFerrin?
Yes.
Trustee Mayo? Yes. Trustee Mason says yes, and I totally agree with Vice President Nzewi that this was the first time, because of the pandemic, we could actually get the kids really involved in it and have them have the voice to put the person forward. So we're looking forward to working with you, although I'm going to trip over your name many times, I'll tell you right now, but I'll do my best. I'll start practicing.
And I just want to say, I also got a chance to meet Anahi a couple of times, but most recently at the Bike for Jose Castillo event, which she was one of the organizers for. And I've just been so impressed at seeing you in action, seeing you as a leader and as an organizer, and really building community, not only in the school, but in the community as a whole. So really looking forward to having you on our board.
Now I think we just need to vote electronically as well. Okay. And as you all heard, that passed unanimously and enthusiastic. I think we'll not be repeating that because you're going to all hear it out loud tonight. Okay, so that takes us to the next item on the agenda, 10.2, review of potential approval of recognition of the Mount Diablo Unified School District's 22-23 Teacher of the Year nominees and finalists. Exciting time for the school district. Dr. Clark?
Yes, this is always one of those meetings that we all look forward to, and we are very excited to have several of our highly skilled and very committed educators here tonight, and we are looking forward to recognizing them and giving them their opportunity to shine. So without any further ado, we are going to make sure I'm following the script here. So first, we are going to talk about the candidates. So first of all, do we have a Catalina in the audience? Is Catalina here? Okay, then I'm going to go to, let me go with, I'm going to start with this other group. Let me go with Laima. Laima? Is Laima here? Come on up to the podium. Come on up to the podium. So, good evening. How are you?
Good. It's good to be here. I'm glad I was nominated. It was actually really exciting to see how many of my students went behind my back and wrote nice things about me.
Very good.
And no one told me till later.
All right. So I have some more embarrassment to bestow on you. I have just a little blurb to read about you, if that's all right. And please correct me if I'm mispronouncing your name.
Laima Hyder.
Laima. Laima has taught in the district for almost 15 years, including 8 years at College Park High, where she teaches AP US History, as well as English Language Development and Academic Language Development for newcomer refugee students. She also teaches Apex Credit Recovery. In addition, Laima is the advisor of the Model UN Club and California Scholastic Federation, and she serves on the City of Pleasant Hills Education Commission. She keeps her classroom open before school, during lunch, and after school for students who want to drop by and talk, get extra help, or enjoy some snacks. Many of her students say she is their favorite teacher because they know she cares about them and she takes the time to make sure they understand the rigorous material, while also checking in with them personally to be sure they are okay. So for this, we are very proud that you were one of our Teachers of the Year nominees, and we have for you a little token of our appreciation.
Thank you. I do, while I have the stand, I would like to mention that I like to work with Loma Vista to work with adults who are trying to get their high school GEDs and things, and I think we forget about them sometimes, and sometimes we forget about continuation schools. So I work really as closely as I can with Crossroads. Right now we're making Mother's Day baskets for them. Erin's chipped in. We're giving all the girls pamper baskets, and it's 30 of them. So they we know they're there and we do wonderful things at these schools, but I think it's important for all of us too, when we can do something for these great places.
Great. Well, thank you very much for all that you do. I'm going to ask you to stick around till we get through everyone, then we're going to do a couple pictures, okay?
Okay, thank you so
much. All right,
much.
thank you. Our next teacher that we'd like to recognize is Lizette. Lizette here? Lizette? All right, then I'm going to move on to Maria. Is Maria here? All right. So we are going to then go to our, two Teacher of the Year finalists. The Mount Diablo Unified School District selected 5 finalists from more than 100 outstanding educators nominated throughout the district. Catalina Gallo and Natasha Paul, who both teach at Mount Diablo High, have been selected as the 2 District Teachers of the Year for 2022-2023. They will both represent the district as nominees for the Contra Costa County Teacher of the Year competition, which will announce 4 finalists next month and the winners in September at the ceremony where all District Teachers of the Year will be honored. So Both Catalina and Natasha graduated from Mount Diablo High. I'm sorry about these dates. I'm just reading the script, but Catalina in 2007 and Natasha in 1991. In fact, Catalina was Natasha's student in the Digital Safari Academy, where Catalina now teaches multimedia to students in grades 10 through 12. So the first one that I'm going to recognize, I know I called on Catalina earlier and she wasn't here, but so we will go to Natasha. Natasha here, will you please come to the podium? Laura is going to present you with your award and recognition.
It's well protected.
Yes. Oh, look at that. Very nice. Let me just embarrass you a little longer.
Okay.
Natasha now teaches 9th grade English at Mount Diablo High's Architecture, Construction, Manufacturing, and Engineering Academy, known as ACME. She also teaches English language development to students who are learning English. She started teaching at the school 19 years ago. Like Catalina, she views building relationships with students as a key part of her job. Current and former students, as well as students she doesn't teach, say they love to hang out in her classroom before school, at lunch, and after school because of the warm and friendly atmosphere she provides, as well as snacks. To help students build a sense of community this year, Natasha is practicing mindfulness with students. She invites them to sit in a circle to share games, ideas, and discuss what they are learning. As a teacher, Natasha says self-reflection has played an important part in her professional growth. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you one of our Teachers of the Year, and that is Natasha Paul. The microphone is yours.
Thank you very much. I did not prepare anything to say.
That's quite all right.
But thank you very much. I don't know who nominated me. I wish they would out themselves, but I'm still honored nonetheless. And I've loved the teaching years that I've spent and the mentoring that I've done. And I don't, like I said this in my interview, but I don't stand up here representing just myself, but all the other teachers that I have worked with, all the collaboration that they provided, all the mentoring that they provided for me. And so I couldn't have done it without all the wonderful teachers in our district that I've worked with. So thank you.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Pick up my mess.
Did, just from staff out there, did any of the other Teachers of the Year show up? Does anyone know? If not, if we could, okay. Yeah. All right, so we're going to do a picture. So if we can have the other finalists come on in, and we will do a picture with the board over in front of the dais. I think that would be.
That's good. This is our physical activity right here.
come in here.
Okay.
Our other two just showed up,
Okay.
so we're gonna recognize them. But
Part
that's
two.
great. Yeah. It's all good.
It remains with Dr. Clark.
Are they in, Jen? Where's Jen? Oh, are they here? Oh. Oh, if they come. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. All right, we're moving on. Yeah,
Okay. So that takes us to review and potential approval of resolution 21/2265, order of consolidation, my glasses were fogging up here, of governing board elections. Dr., is this you or
this
this?
is me.
Okay,
I have it, yep, got it all highlighted.
all
So,
right.
so I bring to the board tonight, resolution 21/22-65 in the matter of ordering regular governing board member elections, specifications of the election order. Whereas Education Code 1302A provides that in the absence of establishing the election day for governing board members to regularly occur on a specified statewide elections, the regular election to select governing board members in any school or community college district shall be held on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November of each even numbered year. So whereas tie vote shall be determined by lot or runoff election according to Education Code 5016. This thing is like 3 pages, so I'm not going to bore you all and read it, but I will just say that the county superintendent of schools to file resolutions calling governing board elections with elections office according to Education Code 5324. And I, Adam Clark, clerk of the Board of Trustees of the Mount Diablo Unified School District, do hereby certify that the foregoing resolution was duly passed and adopted by said board at an official and public meeting thereof held on April 27th, 2022 by the following vote. So this item is now in the hands of the board.
And I just want to let the public know that we all received it ahead of time and have read it, so it's not necessary for you to read the entire thing at this time. Okay, so having said that, I will entertain a motion, or if there's any questions, answer questions.
I move that we approve resolution 21/2265, order of consolidation of governing board elections.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Mayo,
Okay, that's good. We know she still can hear us. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
trustee Cowan,
Yes.
trustee Zawi,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
trustee Mason votes yes as well, so that is unanimous. And now we do electronic. Okay. Next, review potential approval of resolution 21/2268, Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Dr. Clark.
in recognition of May as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Whereas the U.S. Census Bureau reports over 23 distinct Asian American and over 19 distinct NHPI, Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander ethnic groups, including Asian Indian, Bengali, Burmese, Cambodian, Chinese, Filipino, Guamanian, Hawaiian, Hmong, Indonesian, Japanese, Korean, Lao, Malayan, Okinawan, Pakistani, Samoan, Thai, Vietnamese, and others. And whereas in Mount Diablo Unified School District, 12.8%, as counted in 2020, of the student populations are identified as Asian, Filipino, or Pacific Islander, the third highest demographic. Yet, studies have found that the academic needs of Asian American and Pacific Islander students are frequently overlooked. So now, therefore, be it resolved by the governing board of the Mount Diablo Unified School District that the month of May is designated as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. and calls on all schools to commemorate this occasion accordingly with appropriate instructional materials, discussions, presentations, and projects. Be it further resolved that this is executed resolution be distributed to all schools within MDUSD. Madam President, this item is now in the hands of the board.
Thank you. Board members?
The last line is one that's in all of our months that have to do with culture and whatnot. And I just want to emphasize that I'm really excited that we're into our second full year. And this is now a second full year of recognizing like every Affinity Month that there is, which gives us a sense of belonging in our district, but really only if we apply that last paragraph that Dr. Clark read each and every month.
Like to follow that with a motion?
I move that I'm sorry, I forget that part. I move to approve Resolution 21-2268, Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Thank you.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
Trustee Cowan?
Yes.
Trustee Nzewi?
Yes.
Trustee McFerrin?
Yes.
Trustee Mayo?
Yes.
Trustee Mason votes yes as well. We're moving on to the next item.
Oh, can I make a quick comment? I just wanted to acknowledge, I know the pandemic has spiked a lot of Asian hate. And so with coming back off this pandemic, I want us to all appreciate and acknowledge the amount of Asian culture we actually have in our daily lives, whether it's the food we eat or the movies we watch. It's in our daily lives, and they deserve much appreciation. So I actually was researching online, and you can learn and support our Asian American neighbors through the Asian American Alliance, which is an organization empowering Asian Americans to lead in community and business. So I just thought that was really great that I wanted to share out, and I'm actually Pacific Islander and Asian as well. So I'm really happy this resolution is here tonight and that we're acknowledging our students' cultures.
Thank you for that. Review and potential approval of Resolution 21-2269, California Day of the Teacher. Dr. Clark.
Yes, in recognition of California Day of the Teacher, National Teacher Appreciation Week is May 2nd through 3rd. Whereas May 11th, 2022 is California Day of the Teacher. And whereas the governing board of the Mount Diablo Unified School District wishes to express its appreciation to our teachers for their creativity, dedication, and talent. And now, therefore, the governing board of the Mount Diablo Unified School District hereby recognize May 11th, 2022 as Day of the Teacher, and be it further resolved that all students, parents, and school district employees are encouraged to participate in observance that express and show appreciation to the instructional staff at schools throughout the Mount Diablo Unified School District. Madam President, this item is now in the hands of the board.
Thank you. Board comments or motions or questions? How appropriate.
Madam President, I move that the board adopt Resolution 21/2269, California Day of the Teacher.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Trustee, yes, go ahead. First, we're going to go with Trustee Nzewi, then we'll go Trustee Mayo.
I just wanted to say, my daughter's not in elementary school anymore, so I hardly remember Teacher Appreciation Week. And so I say that because I'm sure Trustee McFerrin does not get all the treats that elementary school teachers get. And so to remind us to appreciate our secondary teachers, like that once our children are out of 5th grade, the teachers who are 6th through 12th deal with a very different kind of child. And we should appreciate them to the fullest as well. So I'll buy you some cookies or something.
Trustee Mayo?
She was actually seconding.
Oh, she was
Someone
second,
already
okay.
seconded.
Anybody else? I was just going to say, we appreciate having a teacher on the board very much. That's a very needed perspective that we have. So, and we appreciate all our teachers, but it's been nice to have you on the board.
And I would just like to say, I know it's been a crazy, tough year to be a teacher. It's always a tough and challenging job that, that makes such a difference in the world. But this year, we appreciate you even more for everything that you do for our students, and just know that you're making a difference every single day. And we're here for you. Thanks.
Trustee Fowler?
Everyone took the words out of my mouth. So yes.
Trustee Cowan?
Yes.
Trustee Nzewi?
Yes.
Trustee McFerrin?
Yes.
Trustee Mayo? Yes. And Trustee Mason says yes as well. So there we go.
President Mason, if you wouldn't mind, just in connection with the Day of the Teacher, we do have one of our Teachers of the Year who is now with us.
And was given the wrong time to be here.
It's all right.
Yes.
Is she here? Well, no, we tried to time it out and not have them wait so long. So we have Catalina Gallo. Yes, all right. Congratulations. So Catalina, if you don't mind, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's totally fine.
All
Thank
right,
you so much.
good, good. So I'm just going to read this opening sentence here. Both Catalina and Natasha graduated from Mount Diablo High School. Catalina in 2007 and Natasha in 1991. In fact, Catalina was Natasha's student in the Digital Safari Academy, where Catalina now teaches multimedia to students in grades 10 through 12. Catalina has taken on leadership roles at Mount Diablo High School, including leading a WASC accreditation focus group on culture, looking at things like equity and community and parent involvement, so students feel supported. She also planned the school's Academy Night, open house last month. Catalina treats her students as equals and says she believes that having discussions with them about their ideas and issues that are important to them is a key part of her role. She also strives to build trust with them. Catalina said the primary reason she hoped to be selected as Teacher of the Year was for her students, so they could see that amazing things happen at Mount Diablo High and that they can do anything they want to do. Catalina also wanted to bring more recognition to Mount Diablo High School, which she said is a beautiful place full of amazing students. Catalina, thank you. The mic is yours.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for this huge honor. And what I do want to say is what I've learned in my time as an educator is that education can be used as a tool for control or a tool for liberation. And in my practice, it's always been about freedom. My parents moved here from Mexico in the 1970s and they didn't have access to higher education. And as such, they didn't have as many choices as I was lucky to have. So it's been one of the greatest honors and one of my greatest accomplishments to be a part of the educational journey of so many students who look like me and who come from similar backgrounds to me. So I hope that, like you said, I hope that by being named one of the Teachers of the Years, my students see that they can accomplish anything and that great things happen at Mount Diablo High School. And if you don't think so, then you're not looking hard enough. So again, thank you so much for this honor. Because by honoring me, you're honoring my parents and my family and my students and my coworkers and my academy, which you all gave a little shout out to. And all of those people and entities have created loving communities that have uplifted me and allowed us all to be free. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And please stick around. We're going to recognize two other teachers and then we're going to do a photo with the board.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can I just say one thing about Ms. Gallo?
Oh, please. Oh,
I
some
just
more
wanted,
embarrassment.
just a little story. Before I was on the board, I think I was a volunteer with our new education foundation that we had just started, our nonprofit. And it was recommended that the Digital Safari students could do some of the marketing and graphic design that we needed for the nonprofit. And so that was my first introduction to Ms. Gallo, who was supervising those students. And they were so incredibly professional I felt like I was, hiring a marketing firm. So, for businesses out there that are looking for that type of work to be done, we have incredible talent, led by an incredible teacher here at Mount Diablo High. Thanks so much.
Do we have Laima? Did I pronounce that correctly?
We did.
Laima? We already did that. Yeah. So now we have Lizette and Maria. We have Lizette? All right. Come on up, Lizette. And I just want to formally recognize her as Dr. Lizette Ortega Dolan.
Yes.
Correct. All right. So we're going to get you an award here.
Thank you. I'll
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you don't mind, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit. Is that okay?
Please.
All right. So.
Well, it depends what you've got written.
No,
on
this
there.
is all. And excuse the informal tone. Lizette is in her first year at Pine Hollow Middle School, teaching 7th and 8th grade English. She is also the school's AVID coordinator and has started a dance program, Latino Club, Black Excellent Program, and a Safe Place Club for LGBTQ students and allies. In addition, she is helping to provide professional development as part of the school's leadership team, based on her years of experience as an educational consultant specializing in equity and inclusion, as well as experience teaching high school. Several of her students said she truly listens and cares about them, and they appreciate her willingness to go over material again if they don't understand it. Lizette is building strong connections with her students and inspiring them to work hard to develop their critical thinking and writing skills so they will be ready to take on greater challenges next year. The floor is now yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, MDUSD, and I really want to thank Lori Clark, my principal, who hired me about 3 days before the school year began. Truth be told, I had gone into consulting and I've been consulting since 2006, but stepped away from the classroom in 2018 for health reasons, and had been working with teachers in schools and other leaders around equity and inclusion specifically, and just really missed the classroom, really missed being a part of a school community, really missed students. And it was a Saturday afternoon, and my in-laws were over, and they said, hey, look, there's a hiring fair for MDUSD. And they said, you'll be the most overqualified lunch lady. And I said, you know what, let me go. Maybe I'll be a campus supervisor, or I'll be a lunch lady, but I can be in a school. It'll be my in. And I know what I can bring. I know how I make connections with kids. And I ended up being hired by Lori that day. And I am so happy. I am so grateful. I am very grateful to be able to be contributing to the district that has been educating my children in Walnut Creek for so many years. My daughter fought with me, and she won her argument to go to Northgate and not Carondelet. She said, I love going to school at Foothill. I love my teachers. I want to stay in this district. I want to go to Northgate. And I'm thankful for all the adults that she's had in her life that made her really want to continue to be a part of this community. I'm really grateful for the opportunities that Pine Hollow has given to me, the yeses that I've gotten from Mrs. Clark to say, yes, start that club. Yes, start that club. Yes, start that club. To my husband's chagrin, right? He was like, I thought this was an 80% position. You're never home. But I really believe in the power of education. My parents immigrated from Latin America. I didn't start school speaking English. I didn't learn how to speak English until I was 6. And it was teachers over the course of my life that said, you can do more. And my parents have always said, tu educación nadie te lo puede quitar, right? You can't take away your education, which is also why I've just continued to strive and learn and model that for my kids, that you're never done learning, and to model the humility of saying, I don't know. And for them to see that. And for them to see someone, I never was taught by a person of color. I was never taught by an openly LGBT person. And to just have people say, I could do that. I could come from the neighborhood in San Francisco and I could be the president of Harvard Graduate School of Education and be the first one and have Larry Summers say to me, we need to do a revote because not enough people voted and that's why they said you won. And me and the other Chicana president said, no, there will not be a revote. We won. And that's what I want to model to my students. So thank you very much.
Congratulations. And if you would, please stick around. We're going to do a picture just after we recognize the next person, okay? Yeah. So we have the other candidate? The other?
Yep.
All right, good, good. And so we have, next coming up, we have Mariha Sajjad.
Correct us.
You pronounce your last name for me?
Sajjad.
Sajjad.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Maria Sajjad.
Maria Sajjad.
Yeah.
Great. Congratulations.
So I really didn't have a speech prepared.
No, that's okay. 'Cause I'm
I'm having a panic attack.
That's okay. I'm going to give you a few minutes to
Oh,
think of
okay.
something to say.
Okay.
All right. So let me read some stuff. And if nothing else, you can repeat what I say.
Okay.
That's all right. So, all right. Mariha has taught in the district for 11 years and now teaches second grade at Bancroft Elementary. She says that social and emotional learning, known as SEL, is her passion. She has seen an improvement in students' moods and enthusiasm for classwork since she introduced SEL lessons that help them self-reflect and feel good about themselves and each other. Every morning, she holds a class meeting with students discussing SEL topics such as gratitude and love. She also sings and plays the guitar to bond with students in a fun way. Parent Daria Labyrinth said she nominated Maria because she is one of the best, kindest, loving, and caring teachers I've ever known. First grade teachers at Bancroft said they use many of Maria's SEL lessons in their classrooms because they help students to regulate their emotions and help them to be good people who love themselves and love those around them. Ladies and gentlemen, Mariha.
Okay, I'm gonna wing this. My forte. Thank you so much. It's an honor. It's been 11 years. I feel very grateful to be standing here and receiving this award. I guess I'll just do a little story of why I started and why SEL means so much. I remember being at UCLA and I used to do this program called Bruin Partners where we would go to an after-school program for inner city students, and I'd get on a bus and I'd get over there, and we get over there, it was middle school, and they were having trouble with this specific student named Julio. Julio's throwing things, he's cussing at everybody, he's not listening to any of the ladies that were there, and took one look at him and I was like, okay, well, what they're doing is not working. Wonder if I bond with this kid in a different way, if something would change. Weeks went by, didn't talk to me, didn't have anything to say to me, and then I realized, like, what would I want in this moment if I was this age? So sat down with him, was like, you do this homework, I'll play football with you. I do not know how to play football, but I offered it up and I said, I'll learn with you. You teach me, I teach you. Not to be corny, but he didn't believe me. And I was like, I'll show you how to spiral it. I learned how to spiral that football for Julio so I could see if that would work for me, if that bonding would work. And he put on his glasses and he put his paper out and he was like, okay, it's on. So I want to see you play, Miss Sajjad. Started doing his work, started doing what he needed to do, and we got these football games going on. And ever since then, I still do this stuff with the kids. The guitar is bonding, football is bonding, playing or doing the gratitude is bonding with them. So it's just something that I remember with him that I carry with me
now, even after 11 years. And I guess to just sum it up, I always say this, all anybody wants is to be seen. All any human wants is to be heard. All anybody wants is to walk into a room and people look at you and their eyes light up. It doesn't matter how old you are. So that's how I view this job and just anyone in general. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Do another picture, if we can do a quick picture with the board again. And right down here.
She's a working dog.
Back to business.
Yeah, not
That
missing
was
a beat.
business, but that was just,
we're not all done.
That was more pleasure than
Yes.
business. Okay. 10.6, review and potential approval of resolution 21/2271, recognizing May as Jewish American Heritage Month. Dr. Clark.
Yes, recognizing May as Jewish American Heritage Month, whereas National Jewish American Heritage Month celebrates and recognizes Jewish contributions to American culture, history, military, science, government, education, and all areas of American life. And therefore, be it resolved that the governing board of the Mount Diablo Unified School District hereby recognizes May as Jewish American History Month and supports the opportunities for all students, staff, faculty, and members of the public to honor and learn more about Jewish American history and culture. Madam President, this item is now in the hands of the board.
Thank you. Board members?
Madam President, I move to adopt resolution 21/2271, recognizing May as Jewish American Heritage Month.
Thank you.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any comments before we take a vote?
I just want to say thank you to all of the community organizations that support us in making sure that we are educating our students properly with Jewish American heritage, and to know that the Holocaust is real, Holocaust remembrance, but the many facets of Judaism, both culturally and religiously. So ADL has been a really fantastic resource, and so have many others. I'm sorry, I don't have the list in front of me at the moment. But last year was the first year that we had this resolution. And so I'm excited for it to be coming back again this year. And for all of the community support that we have in our schools. Thanks.
Trustee Fowler?
I say this all the time, but when moments like this and we're recognizing months like Jewish American Heritage Month, I ask that we all learn about the achievements and the culture and their experiences to help deepen our connection with our peers among us who are Jewish Americans. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. You can go ahead and vote now if you'd like.
Any other comments?
I think so.
Yes.
Trustee Count,
Yes.
trustee Nzewi,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
trustee Mason votes yes. And it should come up in a minute there, trustee Count. And as you all heard, that passed unanimously. Okay, that takes us to our next item. 10.7, review and potential approval for resolution 22/2173 in recognition of School Lunch Hero Day. Dr. Clark.
Yes, so whereas nutritious meals at school are an essential part of the school day, and whereas the staff of the district school meals and nutrition department are committed to providing healthful, nutritious meals to the district's children, and whereas men and women who prepare and serve school meals help nurture our children through their daily interaction and support, and whereas the day of Friday, May 6, 2022 is School Lunch Hero Day. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mount Diablo Unified School District expresses its deep appreciation to these valuable employees and commends their good work on behalf of children. Madam President, this item is now in the hands of the board.
Thank you. Board, any comments? Motions?
I'll move to approve resolution 2022-73 in recognition of School Lunch Hero Day.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Have a second? And I would just say, when we went through the pandemic and I would go by Riverview Middle School and they'd be out there handing out lunches and food from the food banks to our family. And I'd see the school buses picking up food. They kept the Bay Point community fed. And I went all the time and told them, you guys are my heroes. You're here for our families. They're not having to wait in long lines. So I'm glad we're having this official day to remember them and thank them for that.
Can I add
You can add
that I've mentioned it earlier this year, but they had to pivot very quickly to be ready to feed any child who wants to eat through the school meals program, because California's done the right thing and has chosen to make school meals universal and not application based. And so doing that was not an easy task, especially with very, very little time to prepare. So I'm really thankful that we know that in our district, no kid goes hungry while they're at school, at least.
Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
trustee Count,
Yes.
trustee Nzewi,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo. Yes. And trustee Mason is a yes as well. Excellent.
Can we have Dominic Machi just give us a big wave? There you go. Thank you, Dominic.
Madam President, can I
Yes,
just jump in?
absolutely.
The two names that I was looking for in the previous resolution were the Jewish Community Relations Council, which provides resources related to ethnic studies, anti-Semitism, and beyond for schools and districts in the region, as well as Jewish Community Services of the East Bay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are on to another fun topic,
Yes,
public employee appointments.
yes.
11.1, review and potential approval personnel appointment, principal Oak Grove Middle School.
And Mr. Sheehy, are you going to camp out for the next 8 items?
I will be here.
Okay, so.
I brought my water bottle with me, so I'm good to go.
So, Mr. Sheehy will take these items, but we will start with 11.1, Oak Grove.
All right. The Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Alejandro Ramos as principal of Oak Grove Middle School. Dr. Ramos has been serving Oak Grove Middle School as interim principal. And with that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
You.
Madam President, I'll move that the board approve Alejandro Ramos as the principal at Oak Grove Middle School.
Thank you.
Second.
Oh, we have a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
trustee Count,
Yes.
trustee Nzewi.
Yes.
Trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
and trustee Mason votes yes as well. Is she here to
Dr. Ramos is not here today.
Okay, well, tell her,
Him.
him, we're happy that
Yeah.
he's joining us.
Yes.
I'll just let you take these. There's no point in me introducing them. Just
Okay.
keep going.
All right, moving on to number 2. The Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Chris Chenault as principal of Woodside Elementary School. Mr. Chenault has been serving Woodside Elementary School as interim principal. With that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
I move that we approve the appointment. Oh my gosh, I already forgot his name. I don't.
Chris Chenault.
Christian Holt, I'm sorry. It's in front of me, as principal of Woodside Elementary School.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler,
yes.
trustee Cowan,
Yes.
trustee Zawi,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
trustee Mason says yes.
Excellent. And Mr. Chenault is at Woodside's open house tonight, so he's not here.
Appropriate.
Yes, yes.
And Oak Grove's open houses tonight as well, I believe.
Yes,
I,
that's right.
yeah.
It is.
All right, so moving on to the number 3, the Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Candace Ng as Program Specialist, Special Education District-wide. Candace started her teaching career in elementary education and shortly after transitioned to teach high school special education for the past 7 years. Candace holds a bachelor's degree in elementary education, a master's degree in special education, and a doctorate in curriculum and instruction with an emphasis in special education. Candace is a product of MDOSD and graduated from Northgate High School, where she worked as a TA for SCC classes, which helped shape her love for working with individuals with disabilities. And with that, I leave this appointment into the hands of the board.
Thank you.
Madam President, I move to approve the appointment of Candace Ng, Program Specialist, Special Education District-wide.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
trustee Cowan,
Yes.
trustee Zawi,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
and trustee Mason votes yes. I feel like we're doing the wave here. And that passes unanimously.
Excellent. And that appointee had to leave. She was here. She had to run off for childcare issues. So she was here.
Okay,
All right, moving on to number 4, the Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Megan Hines as the Program Specialist, Special Education District-wide. Megan taught in Massachusetts for most of her career as a learning center teacher, supporting students with a wide range of needs, and as a therapeutic learning center teacher, supporting students specifically with social, emotional, and behavioral needs in an inclusive setting. Megan has a bachelor's degree in special education with a concentration in severe disabilities and a master's degree in special education with a concentration in moderate disabilities. Megan loves to hike with her husband and their dog, and she is an avid runner, having run 10 marathons since 2013. With that, I leave that appointment into the hands of the board.
Madam President, I'll move that the board approve the appointment of Megan Hines as Program Specialist, Special Education District-wide.
Second?
we have a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
trustee Cowan,
Yes.
trustee Zawi,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
trustee Mason votes yes. All right. Yeah.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am so excited to bring all of my experience to Mount Diablo. I am looking forward to supporting families and students and educators, and I'm just really excited. So thank you so much.
Thank you and welcome.
Moving along, the Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Joel Miner as Program Specialist, Special Education District-wide. In Joel's career, he has been honored to work with the most at-risk youth, including incarcerated youth, and special education as a teacher, coach, department lead, and site administrator. Joel holds a bachelor's degree in graphic design and a master's degree in educational leadership. Joel would like to thank his wife, Sheena, and his 2 children, JT and William, for all the blessings and support they share with him. And with that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
Thank you.
I move that we approve Joel Minor as Program Specialist, Special Education District-wide. Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
trustee Count,
Yes.
trustee Zaley,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
trustee Mason votes yes.
Just very excited to be rejoining the Mount Diablo Unified District. Excited to be working with families and students with the highest level of risk and needs, and just excited to be back in the district. So thank you.
Thank you.
One second, excuse me. You have some folks you want to introduce?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good catch, Dr. Clark.
My wife Gina,
Yeah.
my oldest baby. Very good so far.
They have been. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mr. Sheehy, I just want to clarify if we did, on the piece of paper that I have in front of me, it says that Joel Minor was for the Bridge program.
It's
was it the-
Special Education District-wide.
It was district-wide. Okay.
Yeah.
I have the wrong
Yep.
paper. Thank you.
All right, the Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Patricia Hamachi as the Instructional Program Specialist, African American Student Achievement with the Equity Department. Patricia's work in education has been centered around equity and informing herself and others the best practices so that we can close the opportunity gap for our minoritized students. Patricia currently works at Shore Acres Elementary. Patricia holds a bachelor's degree in health science with an option in administration and management and is a candidate to receive a master's degree in educational leadership. Patricia's self-care includes spending time with her family, hiking around the East Bay, going to movies, and listening to music and podcasts. And with that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
Madam President, I move to approve Patricia Hamachi as Instructional Program Specialist, African American Student Achievement in the Equity Department.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
trustee Count,
Yes.
trustee Zaley,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
trustee Mason says yes. And should come on up.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I want to say that my parents are here supporting me today and all through my life. So I want to say thank you to them.
Will you introduce them?
Yes. Mi padre, Natividad Preciado, y mi mamá, Patricia Preciado.
All right.
My mom and dad, and then my little brother Mark is here too.
Oh.
Yeah. And I just want to thank you again for the opportunity. I want to say thank you to my Bay Point and Shore Acres community. I wouldn't be where I am without you. And so I want to make sure that they know and everyone knows in my Bay Point community that I've learned so much, and everything I learned from them, from my colleagues, from my mentors, from, you know, fellow teachers, as well as my admin, have all helped me to come to this day. And I just cannot wait. I'm so excited to be in this position. And so thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Congratulations.
All right. The Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Amy Monahan as the Operational Program Specialist, African American Student Achievement with the Equity Department. Amy began her career in education in 2015 when she was hired as a middle school English teacher in the Burbank Unified School District before joining MDUSD. After teaching at Diablo View Middle School, she transitioned to the elementary level where she taught second grade at El Monte Elementary for the past 3 years. Amy holds a bachelor's degree in liberal studies and a master's degree in education with a concentration in curriculum and instruction. Outside of work, Amy enjoys spending time with her husband, bonus kids, and dogs. They enjoy camping, spending time on the lake, and relaxing at home. And with that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
Thank you.
I move that we approve Amy Monahan as Operation Program Specialist, African American Student Achievement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
trustee Count,
Yes.
trustee Zaley,
Yes.
Trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
and trustee Mason votes yes. So
Hello, thank you, Dr. Clark and the board. I'm honored to have this opportunity. I'm more than excited. I've been so blessed to work with a wonderful community at El Monte Elementary and learn alongside the most amazing educators and colleagues. And I'm really excited to continue my practice in this new role with Mr. Malgosa and his team in the equity department. Thank you.
thank you and congratulations. To take our electronic vote on that. In here. I should talk slower. There we go. Okay.
All right, moving along. The Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Lamont Francis as the Family Involvement and Community Engagement Programs Coordinator, African American Student Achievement with the Equity Department. Lamont is the Senior Minister of the Delta Bay Church of Christ and also does equity work for school districts around the country. Lamont is the founder of the East County North Star, an online news outlet for African American residents living in East Contra Costa County and a community activist for Black students and families. He was the former president of the Black Educators Association and MDUSD and is currently a vice principal at Riverview Middle School. Lamont holds a master's of arts in both sociology and counseling and a doctorate degree in international and multicultural education. Lamont currently lives in Oakley, California with his wife and their 5 children. With that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
I move for the approval of Dr. Francis as the Family Involvement and Community Engagement Programs for African American Achievement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
trustee Pound,
Yes.
trustee Nzewi,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
trustee Mason says yes. And I don't see.
Was not able to make it.
I just want to say that I have had the occasion on many different times to work with Dr. Francis out in the East County community around these issues, and I think he will do a very good job at this.
Absolutely.
Okay. That takes us to, I think, board member reports. So let me switch it up and go with trustee McFerrin first. Is that okay? She's ready.
Yeah, I have my. Okay, I've been able to go to some interesting events lately, so I'll talk about those. I attended the wellness meeting on April 20th with President Mason, and so we are kind of doing a bit of a check-in about our programs as related to health. So that's been interesting to learn about. Last week, I attended the celebration of success at Concord High School with trustee Mayo, and that was a wonderful event. It was very well attended. It was a packed room, and awards were given by to students at every grade level. And so it was really fun to see how much support there was in the room and to see so many families and staff members show up to support the students who were very proud of their achievements. And then I also was able to attend the memorial bike ride for Jose Castillo, who was the Mount Diablo High School student who was newly arrived from El Salvador. And the bike ride was set up by Bike Concord, and I was glad to see trustee Count there as well. And also that's where I got to meet Anai, who I'm looking forward to working with next year on the board. And that's all I have to share this evening.
Thank you. Trustee Nzewi?
I just want to thank and acknowledge the students, parents, and community members from YV who came tonight. I regret and I'm very sorry that they've had to face such a challenging year at that school, and that I'm most sorry that it was only in the past few weeks that I knew that it was so challenging. I'm really excited that they came and voiced their concerns directly to us, because that's not a community that we normally see in this room. And I'm especially thankful for the interpreter who makes this meeting accessible to parents from that and other communities. So yes, I want to talk about what I feel like came up a lot in Dr. Clark's, in all of the recognition of the Teachers of the Year nominees and the winners. One thing that was a common thread through all of them was their connection to students. So we heard a lot about classrooms being open before, during lunch, and after school. We heard a lot about snacks being offered. I know that food is love. We heard in the descriptions from their nominees that all of those teachers had an extreme connection to their students. And I felt like there was a parent meeting for the community of YV yesterday. And I feel like that was the missing thread. The teacher, Ms. Gallo, mentioned you could teach for control or teach for liberation. And I feel like sometimes, very often, not sometimes, most often, the adults who are responsible for our kids at our school, in our schools, lean more towards control than liberation. And so I hope that what I will advocate for and encourage and demand is that our teachers emulate what we saw from our Teacher of the Year nominees and Teacher of the Year winners, is deep connections with their students, because that's what can help that's how we can help support our students to not to feel heard and seen, as I can't remember the final teacher expressed, which can then help us prevent just the really hard times that students are having and the way that they're expressing those hard times on our campus. So that's it. And my mom wanted to encourage, this isn't going to happen, but last year, Sharice, I know is going to comment on we had the benefit for the Contra Costa County School Boards Association meeting last week to hear from Zaretta Hammond. And my mom wants to encourage everyone, especially all of our teachers and whatnot, to watch that webinar. But so if it is available to the public, the recording, I would too. And in that, I learned a term that I hadn't put a name. We know it happens. All of us know very well it happens, racial bullying. And I never felt so. I've never put racial in front of bullying. And we see evidence of that in our district throughout. And so I'm going to intentionally start using that term, and I hope all of us do when we're describing what's happening to our students on our campuses, from between each other and from the adults as well.
Okay, Trustee Cowan.
Okay, apologies because I have quite a few things, so I'm going to try to keep it short, but there's a number of things that I wanted to say. One is, let's see where to start. Okay, shorten this. So on Zaretta Hammond and the CCC SBA meeting, Contra Costa County School Boards Association, yes, we all, I think, highly recommend her book, Culturally Responsive Teaching and the Brain. She did a really great job explaining the difference between what share the acronyms of CRT. So critical race theory is what some people think of when they see CRT. What we are mostly talking about in our district about CRT is culturally responsive teaching. And culturally responsive teaching is something that really we haven't heard anyone have a problem with, because it's defined as authentically getting to know all students so that you can help them learn. And part of what her book goes into is how people learn, how our brain works. And the brain learns by connecting new information that you're learning with things that you already know, making those connections. And so how do our teachers do that? It's exactly what Trustee Nzewi was just saying.
our teachers really authentically get to know students so that they can help them make those connections, so that every person can thrive in the public space. I believe the recording is available with the password, so to our staff, and we did have many staff members there and principals as well, which was really, really great. So just reach out to us if you'd like that recording. April 22nd, I went to PTA Advocacy Day in San Ramon, which a number of PTA regional groups put this together as a group, and they were advocating at the state level to raise the base funding. One thing there, they had education finance expert Kevin Gordon speak, and he was trying to explain why is it that community members are confused because they see districts like ours making massive cuts, and some districts even closing schools at the same time that the public is hearing that the state is giving so much money to the schools. So he's trying to explain that. And he said, it's like getting a trip to Disneyland when you can't afford to put food on the table. And what he was trying to explain is that the funding that we have received from the state, that the large amounts of funding that we received are one-time things that have to be used and spent on very specific items. So when we're trying to put food on the table and have, living wage competitive salaries across the board, that's the food on the table. We can't necessarily use the funds for those things. So anyway, I thought that was very helpful. On April 23rd, I went to the robotics showcase at Diablo View. Go robotics! It was so awesome to see the robots and the students really leading the way, and from so many different schools coming together. I know a number of them also presented at the Bay Area Science Fair as well in San Francisco after that. I want to thank PFLAG and Rainbow Community Center and Concord High and our district for putting on the Pride Prom on Saturday night. It was such a wonderful success, and they're already talking about doing it again next year. And one of the things that we've seen is that studies show that inclusive school climate is a key factor, not only in building connections with our students like we were just talking about, but also in reducing violence. So when we're talking about the fights that students get into on campus, or the gun violence that's out there, these types of inclusive activities really, really make a difference. April 25th, I got to go to the MDPEA meeting. Really, and what I'm excited about from that is students that are going to be working on the local Walnut Creek Habitat for Humanity build, which I love building with Habitat. I used to work in affordable housing, so I definitely want to go out there and do some building. And then I want to talk a little bit about the Community Safety Forum last night. And I want to thank the YV High PTSA, the school administration, the district leadership, Dr. Clark, and the Concord Police Department for being there. There was such a great showing of students and parents that came out to speak. And I think it was really, really good for the principal and the administration to have a chance to really hear all of these perspectives and ideas. The person who, there's one person who was not able to come to that meeting, and it was a parent from Moms Demand Action, who's local to Concord. And she wanted people to know some key things about access to guns and preventing gun violence. So 41% of adolescents in gun-owning households report easy access to the guns in their homes. And in up to 80% of incidents, underage shooters obtained their guns from their own home or from the house of a relative or a friend. So we just want everyone to know, I know we've sent this out as a district before, but besmartforkids.org has resources in English and Spanish that your PTA or school can use to remind everyone to lock up their guns. And there's another action we can all take for overall safety from gun violence in our neighborhoods, is to ask our Concord City Council, and actually all of our different city councils, to replicate what the city of Dublin did. They had an ordinance on gun storage combined with a free giveaway of gun lock devices. So the city really sought to protect kids and other unauthorized gun users from hurting themselves or others by enacting that ordinance that requires guns to be stored in locked containers or disabled with the trigger lock. Thank you so much to Dr. Clark for your leadership
With that meeting last night and the entire cabinet was there, I can really see that our whole district is dedicated to working with the community to solve these really, really tough problems, as well as the announcement that the bathrooms actually are open at the school. And lastly, happy news. I did get to stop by the Pine Hollow Bike Lane pop-up, which was really great to be able to see them in action. And people can still click on the survey and give their feedback. It's really important to get the community feedback. They also are having a community meeting next Wednesday, May 4th. And lastly, I have a coffee, just coffee with the school board member in the community. Come chat with me about schools on Friday at 9 a.m. at Contra Costa Coffee.
Thank you. Trustee Mayo, did you have a report?
Yes, just briefly.
Okay, go ahead.
I did attend the CCSBA meeting on the Loretta Hammond and enjoyed the presentation. I attended the Parent Advisory Committee meeting and the discussion was around the LCAP. I enjoyed the Career Technical Education Business Alliance meeting, and I want to compliment all of our staff members who have worked to provide presentations and have students enrolled in competitions, and those will be focused and featured in the month of May. For example, there's an art show that is being presented at Sun Valley Mall, and so if you happen to be shopping during May, especially for Mother's Day, please check out the art show that'll be displayed there. And then I also want to thank the special ed department and in particular the Community Advisory Committee for the celebration of success. Ms. McFerrin did mention it. The house was packed. People were so excited to be there. And of course, the students were honored, and it was great to see such a variety of ages of our students, as well as the numerous folks that were supporting young children there. And in particular, I want to thank Dr. Clark, because he was able to make every student that was coming forward to receive an award, he was able to make them feel comfortable and then allow them time to be photographed with their award and be featured and applauded by the audience. So thank you, Dr. Clark. It's obvious that you love being with children. Thank you.
Okay, Trustee Fowler.
Good evening, everyone. My report's pretty brief. So as I said earlier, the Student Advisory Committee and I met last week to go over the SBM student board member applicants and interview them. And it was really nice hearing their input. And I know this position is fairly new. So last year, I know students didn't really have a voice in like who they got to represent them, even though we all know Trustee Alas was amazing. But I believe that students should be able to have a say in who represents them. So I hope in the future years, as we develop and have more experience and have more time, I know it's a learning experience and we did the best we could this year, and maybe potentially having an election for the student board member and following the years, I think would be really great. Next, I got some feedback from the Pride Prom, and one of my friends said it was a super fun event and should definitely be a thing from now on to show that queer people have a safe place. So I just wanted to share that with all of you, that I saw the photos and everyone had just a really great time. So I'm super happy about that. And then I know with everything that's happening with Ignacio Valley right now, I wanted to thank and appreciate all the students and teachers who have spoken out and advocated for the school and their community and themselves. And just letting you know, I've communicated with students and I've communicated with Dr. Clark, and I'm really trying to advocate for them and voice their opinion, and your guys' voices matter. And I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure your desires are adhered to, because what's happening there is just, it's not okay. No students should feel that way and feeling unsafe to go to school. It's not okay. So I'm here and I am gonna do everything I can to represent you and represent your voices. And then lastly, I would like to announce that I have committed to Howard University. Yeah, I'm studying political science, then hopefully going to law school after. So I'm really excited to be on the East Coast in August. So thank you all for giving me this opportunity. And I don't think I could have gotten the financial aid I needed from them without this opportunity. So thank you.
See, I only subject myself to having to follow you. I don't do that to any of the other board members. I want you to know that. Many of the same events. I went to the Parent Advisory Committee, the DLAC Committee, and the Business Alliance. And I think I had coffee with Mr. Barboza over at Mount Diablo High School with this Coffee with Parents Day because I didn't have a garden class that particular day. They were on spring break. The Wellness Committee, which we jokingly said we should start maybe modeling physical activity breaks or at our board meetings that go 6 hours long. And I'm like, this was good tonight. We got to get up and walk a couple times. Maybe we'll have to start doing that. Maybe people won't want to talk so long if I'm going to make them get up and exercise in the middle of the meeting. And I would say that the highlight for me was the celebration of success. We were represented very well, the board, by Trustee McFerrin and Trustee Mayo as members of the CAC. They participated in it. And I went up afterward and told Dr. Clark, he looked so thrilled. I said, this is clearly the part of the job you've been wanting to do and haven't been able to do for 2 years. And hopefully it's just the start of a lot of events like this for us. So very proud of the district, all of our staff, all of our board for being active and out there and attending. And with that, I will turn it over to Superintendent Dr. Clark.
Thank you, trustees. I have, excuse me, I just have
allergies. That's what you have.
I have allergies. Yeah, it's been going on for 2 months. I just have short comments tonight. You know, our focus here in the district is always and should always be on students and students' well-being, and all the programs, all the buildings, all the staff we hire, the contracts we have. None of that matters if we're not really touching students. And so, you know, over the last week, being able to go out to some different campuses and especially the celebration of success that night was, it was absolutely magical because there were you know, there are students who we have in this district that often fall through the cracks and are not recognized, are not you know, getting awards for other things or being recognized for other things. And just to, you know, just the simple fact that so many teachers and staff members out there took the time to write special messages about these students, about their accomplishments, about their growth. You know, oftentimes it's not about, you know, where a student is, it's about how he or she progresses. And that's really what we're here to do in this district, is to take our students from one place and bring them to a different place. And where that different place is, like, no one knows, right? And who are we to measure or to say what success looks like? And so so just to hear all the kind words that our staff had to say about these students, and to see how just absolutely thrilled and proud parents were. That is something that takes place throughout all of our schools. And you know, and so really what I hope to achieve as superintendent is that everyone within the organization truly understands that students are at our center. That is our center, that's our North Star. That is what we are constantly working towards. You know, I did attend the Pride Prom on Saturday, and it really just warmed my heart to see students laughing and enjoying one another and celebrating their accomplishments. And their accomplishments are, you know, this phase of their lives is coming to an end. And so as we get ready to embark on many graduations and the student promotions from one grade to another, this is truly a time to celebrate and to recognize not necessarily the accomplishments that we want to see, but the accomplishments that are important to our students and to our families. And so, so I'm really looking forward to that as we wrap up the spring. I was also very moved by the amount of people who came out to our community meeting last night, and to see families, to see fathers, to see mothers, and you know, school staff out there that all came together and to talk about ways that we can continue to bring improvements to our institutions. And so that is just the beginning. We have lots of work to do in all of our schools, you know, with all of our systems. You know, if we just are stagnant and not working towards improvement, then that's what we're going to get. We're going to get stagnant results. And so I see us all as lifelong learners. We all have room to improve, and I look forward to looking back on this very difficult year, and instead of looking back with sorrow or regrets, looking back at accomplishments, and to take pride in the work that we have done with so many young people. So again, I said my remarks would be brief. I know last week I shared at the last board meeting, I shared all the different plans that we're working on. I shared the updates on those plans. I'm going to continue to share suspension data and find ways that that we don't have to exclude students from our schools, but ways that you know, and actually I think our teachers of the year, you know, they all said it best. I mean, you heard teachers who said they opened their classes before school, lunchtime, after school, that they reach outside of their comfort zone to find ways to connect with kids, that they, you know, they make their kids feel special. And that's really what we want to achieve as an organization. And so when we have students who, you know, are doing behaviors that we don't deem appropriate, and to exclude them from school, we have to find other measures to reach those students. And so I'm not saying that there aren't appropriate times when students do need to be removed from school. I'll just share in really reviewing the large portion of our data, it's really around fighting. And so what that tells me is that's a symptom of students needing more guidance on how to problem solve, deal with disagreements, deal with differences, not we need to become more heavy-handed in how we deal with these situations. So as we reflect on this year, I'm looking back with positivity and just looking at all the accomplishments that we have made as a governance team, but also as a district. You know, I really want to recognize and thank Trustee Fowler for her work as a you know, as a trustee and really taking the position serious. And as we all know, we step into these positions and we're going to change the world. We're going to do all these things, and then we get into the work, and the work is not that simple. There's processes, policies, procedures, ed code, and things that we all have to follow. And sometimes that can be frustrating. And I know, you know, you probably had some frustrations. I know you want that vote, and we're going to continue to chip away at that vote and, you know, do some things. But hopefully when you look back on this experience, that it was a positive experience within your high school career. So really thankful to have gotten to know you and to see you along this journey. So anyway, that concludes my remarks, and I'm open to any questions if any trustees have any questions.
I just want to thank you for that. My experience has been very memorable. As we all know, this year was there was a lot for the board, so it was definitely really memorable, and it's taught me a lot of life skills that I will use for the remainder of my life. So thank you.
Okay, that's it. And we're going to our consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are approved as a whole unless an item is pulled by either a member of the public or a member of the board. Having said that, I will entertain it, motion, or if somebody wants to pull something, now is the time to pull it. Silence.
I move.
I move,
Go ahead, Linda.
I move the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
trustee Pound,
Yes.
trustee Nzewi,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
trustee Mason is a yes. That passed unanimously. Trustee McFerrin, you got it. Okay. Moving right along to our business agenda. 17.1, review and potential approval of world language materials, Spanish, French, German, and Spanish for Spanish speakers for middle schools and high schools.
Yes, so we are thrilled to for these adoptions that are coming up, and we're thrilled to start updating many of the materials that are in front of our students each and every day. And we have a great team who's been working extremely hard on this process. And so we are going to I'm going to introduce Ms. Garces, and are you leading this?
Yes.
All right, so we have Ms. Garces
Well,
and
with Mrs. Fireman.
Ms.
I'm
Fireman,
Carmen
yeah.
Garces, the Director of English Learners and Dual Language Services. And I'm here with with Catherine Fireman, who's the Assistant Director of the department, and representatives from the teachers from the World Language Department. And esteemed board members, I have the pleasure of bringing today for your review and approval the list of world language materials for grades 6 to 12 in Spanish, German, and French. And so the next slide, please. We started reviewing the list that was approved by the State Board of Education, and we selected Carnegie Learning and Vista Learning because we wanted the same publisher, 6 to 12, because the 2 years of 7 and 8 of Spanish count as the first year of high school. So we wanted to be continuity in the material. So that's why we narrowed down to these two. The next one. We met with the teachers multiple times, and I want to thank the world language teachers because all the meetings, and Mrs. Fireman will go in detail, they were held after school, after 3:30, with the exception on one, and we met multiple times. Our first meeting together in December of 21 consisted of the teachers reviewing the State Board of Education adopted world language framework, chapter 13, and we look at the instructional materials and the criteria that we needed to observe in order for our selection. So the criteria was the alignment with the world language standards, the program organization, assessment, access and equity, and instructional planning and support. The next slide. The teachers that you will see the list of middle school teachers that participated. We have all the students and all the languages. And needless to say, the teachers were very excited and they really jumped at the opportunity to review the materials. The next one. And this is the list of our world language teachers at the high school level. And Mrs. Fireman is going to continue with the rest of the presentation.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Catherine Fireman. Thank you for listening to our presentation. I do just want to say that working with our world language teachers, this was the first opportunity I had to meet our middle school and high school world language teachers, and what an awesome group they are. Very passionate. The turnout for these after school, we met 3:30 to about 5:30, multiple times, multiple languages, and the passion and excitement that our teachers have for teaching their language is really amazing. And we had more of our teachers here earlier, but some of them could not stay. But I want to go through our process, and then we have a few teachers in case there are any questions. So next slide, please. So we did meet as language alikes. So we had the Spanish teachers meeting together, listening to between the two different curricula. And then same with our French teachers separately for two different meetings, as well as our German teachers. So we could really, each of those groups could really listen to and learn about the two different options we were looking at. Our teachers all had access to the digital platforms from both of the publishers, so they were able to try things out with their classrooms, look really in depth at what both of the curriculums had to offer. And teachers who wanted to actually have the teacher's edition hard copies were able to get their hands on those as well. And then finally, it was very exciting because on the March 7th, which was a district-wide PD day, the afternoon, we all met all three languages at Ignacio Valley High School, where they could actually collaborate in person with, we call them language alike groups. So we sat 6th through 12th grade, Spanish teachers, French teachers, and German teachers. And again, they pulled out looking at those 5 areas that Ms. Garces mentioned, and really looked at the curriculum and could go through kind of with a fine-tooth comb and decide what they thought would be best for their students. And so next slide, please. So then some teachers felt like they wanted more time after listening to their colleagues. It was a really wonderful and rich conversations because, as you know, our school sites are very diverse, and so different voices were put into those conversations about which curricula they thought would serve their students best. And I thought that the collegiality and the listening among the teachers in the grade levels, middle school teachers listening to the high school perspective and vice versa, as well as schools in different communities in our district, the conversations were very rich. And so actually, I think 2 of the languages were like, we're ready to vote. And our Spanish group, which is our largest group of Spanish teachers, like we actually want some more time to go back and do some more work with us in our classrooms. So we extended the vote date. And then March 31st, I believe, was the day that we asked all teachers to go through, they each had their own Google survey, Google form, and they were able to rank their decisions. So they voted on their first choice. Next slide, please. And amazingly, this was lucky, but all of the teachers, they all preferred, not all, but the majority of each language group voted for the publisher named Carnegie Learning. So for our Spanish class, the curriculum is called Que Chévere. And then we also have En Voz Alta, which is our Spanish for Spanish speakers curriculum. And you can see there the numbers of the students that we serve. 1,920 students more or less take Spanish in our district, 6th through 12th. We have 455 students in our Spanish for Spanish speakers classes. And then our French teachers also chose, I don't want to tape roll, is that how? Okay, so I don't speak French, but was by Carnegie. And then same, our German teachers, our mighty 3 German teachers who are very passionate and really excited about this as well, I believe, also went with Carnegie. So that was kind of interesting, actually. Next slide, please. So finally, what we're looking at is an 8-year adoption. And I know our teachers are really excited for something new to get their, in front of their students. The adoption includes teachers' guides and access to online curriculum, the student print and online materials, professional development for the initial rollout for all of our students. And so it's really nice that it'll be kind of a line for all of our students in all the various languages going through all of our school sites. And then again, I put the numbers of the students who are in our district who study each language. And then you see the total dollar amount. So The next slide is just if there are questions from the board. I do want to say that we have a representative from each language here. We have Mount Diablo, Miss Monroy, Spanish teacher, Frau, yes, from Northgate, and Mr. Burson from College Park. We also had a few other Ignacio Valley teachers and a middle school teacher from Pine Hollow who had to leave early. But you guys want to stand up? I appreciate all the work that they put in. And if there's
Hi, I'm Nancy Grabo, Frau Nancy from Northgate High School. I have to say that Catherine Fireman put in so much work in this project. I have never seen anybody work so hard. Absolutely unbelievable. And I am so excited to be able to work with a group with a book that has pictures in it that don't look like me. Because the book we're using now, the people look like they were in the 1980s, you know, and I took German in the 1980s. My kids don't get that. Bell bottoms, you know. So thank you so much for this.
Can I just ask a follow-up to that? Because I know you talked about bell bottoms, but by looking like you, do you mean it's also more racially and culturally diverse throughout all of the various textbooks?
Sally Monroy, Mount Diablo High School. To add to that, the digital materials that it includes has audios, and the audios are from native speakers from the native countries. It's slowed down a lot to make it easier for the students, but there's a lot of diversity in the accents that the students hear. Especially, I mean, for us Spanish speakers, 23 countries that speak Spanish, we do need that diversity for the students to hear.
Wonderful, thank you.
The other thing is that at the end of every unit, there's information regarding a different Spanish speaking country. You know, you are learning language through the culture. There's a very strong culture component in these new materials. It's not the grammatical approach that we all went to school that we have to translate. No, it's very different.
And this one doesn't say Puerto Rico's a country, right?
No.
That you laugh.
I know.
That was a problem in the past.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Good evening, everyone. So yes, I'm delighted as well. If I could add to Nancy's comment, we are delighted to have contemporary modern materials with current photographs. One of the French teachers voted unanimously to adopt Débranché, which I won't ask you to say, for three quick reasons. One, that the series is very aware of California. So we have in world languages national standards and state standards. They have really included California in everything they've written. The second is that the students essentially said that the layout and the visuals were very clear. The grammar explanations were not overly long. And then finally, the website that comes with it, which is an integral part of it, has an abundance of authentic readers. So authentic materials for anyone who doesn't know. So those are materials made for and written by native speakers. So we're reading The Three Little Pigs and Sleeping Beauty in the class that I'm piloting. And that is kind of like having a library in your classroom. So that is really a great asset. So once again, we recommend Carnegie and we thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam President, I move to approve the purchase of world language materials, Spanish, French, German, Spanish for Spanish speakers for middle schools and high schools.
Second.
She's quick. We have a motion and a second. If there's no questions, we'll go ahead with the vote. Trustee Fowler?
Yes.
Trustee Cowan?
Yes.
Trustee Nzeli?
Yes.
Trustee McFerrin?
Yes.
Trustee Mayo?
Yes.
And Trustee Mason votes yes.
And I just had a quick comment. I just wanted to thank you guys for all the hard work you did on this. And I really liked how all of our middle schools, I was looking at this, some middle schools have French and German, which I thought was really great because I know in middle school, if you take 2 years of a language, it counts as 1 year. And then you can take honors language in high school, which looks really great on college applications. So I just want to make sure that we're encouraging our middle school students to take 2 years of language so they can get ahead, and it looks just really great. So thank you for all the hard work you did. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, 17.2, review and potential approval of the next generation science standards materials for middle school courses. I'm looking at info. Did we see this before or just info in action?
Yeah, no, we saw this, but it was elementary and then biology and chemistry and physics.
Got it.
Good evening. My name is Megan Gertz, and I have with me today Karen Christensen, who is a teacher at Pine Hollow. And we are bringing to you tonight our middle school science adoption recommendation. So I'm going to go fairly quickly through this because it's a very similar process that we talked about a couple weeks ago. So why are we adopting science materials for middle school? Because we don't have any currently that are aligned to NGSS. So that's the bottom line. We want our students to have equitable access to NGSS aligned materials. And so the steps in the materials selection process was similar to what we did with specifically elementary, because there is a state list of approved materials. So we looked at that list, contacted publishers, and determined which ones would fit all of our strict criteria as something that we could look at. We created an adoption committee of fabulous middle school teachers who were very dedicated to come after work and have meetings, and we did most of it on Zoom, but we did have some in-person meetings. So they learned how to use the TIME tool, which was the state tool for reviewing science materials. So they learned how to do that. The publishers presented their materials. Middle school had a much longer list than the other levels. So they looked at 7 different publishers from the beginning. And from that material, then they went and did the materials review at Willow Creek, like we did with the other levels. And from that, narrowed it down to a couple that they wanted to pilot, and that was an in-person meeting that they discussed what worked for them and what they thought might be the best solution for all of our students. And I would like to compliment our teachers. They were very focused on what is going to work for all of our students. So our discussions were very rich around what is going to work for students no matter which school they went to. So I was super proud when we were in those meetings because they were very focused on our students. So committee members piloted and reviewed as they dug in depth to 3 publishers. And collected data on what was going to work for them and what was going to work for their students. So after going through the pilot process, and they piloted 3 different publishers this time, they met in person last week and came to a decision, and their recommendation is that we move forward with one of the publishers. These were the people that were on the committee. We did have people from all sites, but we did have some people who were unable to go all the way through the process just because this year has been trying. And so various things came up, but we did have people represented from all different areas in the district, which was great. And our criteria was the same that we used for the others. We used the time material from the state, definitely used our equity lens and making sure that our students were really doing science, not just reading about science. And so that was, our middle school teachers are on the ball with that and did a fabulous job of really looking at, does it connect? Do the students understand what they're putting their hands in, and does it make sense with the storylines presented in the curriculum? So the rationale for the middle school decision, they decided to go with STEM scopes. And Karen, if you don't mind, you want to share your 1 or 2? She has just a couple of quick things that stood out to her with STEM scopes.
So it's been years since we had a textbook that we can use for more than just vocabulary. So very exciting to have a teaching manual again with lots of good ideas. They have a very small textbook that goes for the whole year because most of their work is in these workbooks. There's 5, I believe, 5 units. So each unit has a workbook. In it, it's got things like reading science. So there's an article and then some comprehension questions, so we don't have to be coming up with our own. We're very excited not to have to come up with everything ourselves. And I did want to say Sarah Bricker, the science TOSA, was amazing. Megan, amazing, the best pilot I've ever done. The meeting after school was lovely because it takes just that same amount of time to get ready for a sub. So we might as well just meet after school and it's a lot less stressful. It was nice to get together with everybody through the middle school science and talk about what people are doing. It was, like she said, the hands-on we were really looking at, and looking at the equity throughout the district. Is this material that everybody could get something out of? We especially looked at English language learners. The workbooks are nice in that when you pull out the pages, there's nothing on the one side, so that you're not like pulling out something you need for the next day, because they only gave us enough for one per student, so we didn't want to send it home, because if they didn't bring it back, they didn't have anything. Nice to have color, nice to have it updated. The online, where we didn't get to do a lot with because of the time, so we're really looking forward. It looked good, and we're looking forward to really seeing all that it can do. Any questions? Thank you.
Sounds good.
So there's the program cost. This is again an 8-year adoption. It includes the consumable notebooks. We talked a lot, and there was a lot of discussion around what will you use and what do you want. So the quote that we got was for 4 years. There were all of this, everything is available online, can be used with Google Classroom. So some teachers said, I prefer to do most things in Google Classroom and I won't use the print. So we didn't want to end up with a whole bunch of things left over. All of it they can print out, edit, do on their own as well. So that was, we didn't want to over purchase. So that was the thought on the 4 years. We do have Spanish materials that will be available. So the STEMscopedia, the hardbound, and then also the student journals are available in Spanish as well, and the online. And then materials kits and refills for the 8 years as needed, and then professional development for the life of the adoption as well. So that concludes our presentation. And
any questions?
Madam President, I move we approve the purchase of Next Generation Science Standards NGSS materials for middle school science courses 6th through 8th grades.
Second. Okay, a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, we will go ahead and vote. Trustee Fowler? Trustee Cowan?
Yes.
Trustee Zawi?
Yes.
Trustee McFerrin?
Yes.
Trustee Mayo?
Yes.
Trustee Mason votes yes. Have a new curriculum. Thank you so much. All right. Review of the Mount Diablo Unified School District Expanded Learning Opportunities Program Plan. Dr. Clark.
Yes, I believe Ms. Roberts is going to present this item.
Good evening. So we do have a slide deck, and what's being presented to you tonight is the slide deck's kind of like your clip notes. The 22-page plan is attached as well, and part of what you're going to see is really building on 20 plus years of what we've been doing in Mount Diablo under the after school, the CARES after school program. And before I start, I just want to acknowledge the CARES leadership team. We have Eric Rigo, who's our coordinator of after school, Sheree Gann, who's our lead teacher, cadre leaders, Rosa and Cindy, and then Nicole and Jeremy, who are providing support with our proposed expansion. We would not be able to do what we do without these guys. And so I wanted them to hear and listen. And that you'll hear is one of the components, but I just want to acknowledge and appreciate all that they've done, because us expanding the program in Mount Diablo is only because we have a very, very strong foundation that I think we're going to be able to serve the number of kids that we're proposing to serve next year.
I appreciate that, since I hired half of them.
I know she did. Kudos to board member Mason. You know, she was from the beginning, works with many of those as well as myself. And it's kind of an amazing opportunity that we're here right now. So I know you appreciate that personally. All right, so I'm going to get started. Second slide, please. Do I have the slide? Oh, here it is. Perfect. All right. Oh goodness, let's put the glasses on. This is what happens when I get older.
Or you put really small font.
I know. So my hope for tonight is that you guys get a better sense of what the Expanded Learning Opportunity Program funds are. There has been ample opportunity, and we are asking for the community to submit any questions that they have, because this is really for information right now. We'll be bringing it back on May 11th for action. So we're open and continuing to ask questions. So there is a link to that. You'll get a sense of our timeline, and then an opportunity for us to kind of figure out what expanded learning looks like for our TK6 district-wide. So in a nutshell, the Expanded Learning Opportunity Program is entitlement funds that districts receive to provide before school, after school, intersession, and summer programming. It's about $5.3 million, and that allocation was based on our TK6 unduplicated students, and that's about 16,500. We have to create a plan, which you see attached to the board agenda. And the services have to be prioritized in low-income areas for us to be very thoughtful about the communities that we're covering across our district. And then to make sure that we can serve whoever we can serve. If we can't hire enough staff, we're not gonna be able to serve that many students. I have full confidence that we'll be able to do that though. Bottom line is it means we're gonna expand what we're currently doing for our TK6 students in Mount Diablo to hopefully more students. You may be like, what's the difference between the expanded learning grant that you guys approved last spring to the Expanded Learning Opportunity Plan? The grant that you approved last spring was an actual grant, and that expires in December of 2022. The ELOP, the Expanded Learning Opportunity Program, that's entitlement funds. So that stays in the budget until the governor takes it out. So it's a sustainable funding stream that we're really excited about. And it is not a grant. So that's the difference, grant versus entitlement. Oh, the other thing is the expanded learning, the ELOP is only for before school, after school, intercession and summer. The other one was about us reopening and supporting the students. Bottom line is we have to do those 4 types of models. We have to run a 9-hour program. So that's a new criteria for us in Mount Diablo. We've always run till 6 o'clock with our existing CARES program, but with that, we have to make sure that we go till 6 o'clock. So the model has to be a 9-hour day, but every school day, and or a 30-day summer or intercession program. So that's how we're going to be able to hit our enrollment numbers. Very similar to what we're currently doing with our existing CARES program. We have to have an educational component, an enrichment component, and a social emotional learning. So that's completely in line with what we're doing. The ratio is a little bit different. So currently we have a 20-to-1 student to staff ratio. With the ELOP funds, that remains the same, but for TK, it has to be a 10-to-1, which is needed. The littles need a lot more support and observation. So that will be new. And then we do continue to have to provide a USDA approved snack. And then the priority goes to the TK6 students. There's some key terms, but bottom line is the ELOP funds is based on enrolled students, not the daily attendance. So if Dr. Clark comes to one of our expanded learning programs one day out of the entire year, he is counted as enrolled. But if board member Mason comes every single day, she's counted as one. So that's very different than what we've been used to. But that means that more kids are going to get access. So I'm going to go to the next slide. That gives you a snapshot if you've got your glasses on. But educational enrichment, educational is basically homework, STEM, intervention, focus on English language arts, math, science. Enrichment, it's everything that you can think is the fun, right? It's the gardening, it's the CTE, it's our music, it's our VAPA, it's counseling, it's youth development. So all of our programs, if you haven't made it out to one of our current CARES program, you're going to see that there's all kinds of things that happen. And those are all specific to what that particular school and the student population, the families want. So we're looking at 4 models. One is, you're very familiar with our CARES expanded learning program. So we currently have 12 elementary sites that already run based on the after school grant. We're proposing to add 6 new CARES sites in our district. And those would follow the same model that we're currently doing in the components that you're hearing about tonight. The second model would be, and we're in development, we started conversations earlier this week with our childcare after school expanded programs that are currently running programs on our site that are fee-based, as well as our community partners that provide services off-site. And we're hoping to come up with some type of agreement till we have sharing of resources, sharing of students. We can count the students that attend those fee-based childcare programs that are on our campuses because they meet those same criteria, but then maybe doing some more collaboration between the two programs so that it's more seamless on our school campuses, and partnering with even, we've been having long conversations with the Community Youth Center, which used to be CYC. They're serving close to 500 of our programs, our kids. So how do we collectively partner with them and make sure that our families know that that's an available service for them during the school year, as well as during their summer program? So that's in development, but I have high hopes that that's going to be a really strong partnership that we have with our district and our community. The other is really looking at what a before school program looks like. So we only can count enrolled students that go to the before school if that's an everyday thing that hits the 9-hour day. So that will be any of our existing CARES site schools and any of our new 6 proposed care sites. But we have already had some interest from about 4 or 5 principals who said they're very interested in piloting a before school program. And as long as we offer a 9-hour program on our school campuses, and students just attend the before school, they counted as enrolled. The target number we're looking at is about 8,300 TK6 students that would help us earn that full 5.3 million. The last is, I don't anticipate this happening next year, but based on if we have a hard time hitting and supporting the 8,300 students, TK6 students, looking at maybe having like a session model that would be in a community that doesn't traditionally have an expanded learning program, and then that would be open to the elementary schools that were in that. So it might be a fall session, a winter session, a spring, and a summer. But that would be that 4th model that we'd be looking at based on our capacity and what our programs are looking at. This gives you a quick snapshot of the schools we're talking about. So the 12 to the left that have a little star by it are the ones that receive the ACES, the After School Education Safety Grant. The ones in the middle are our proposed new schools: Silverwood, Monty Gardens, Hidden Valley, Woodside, Gregory Gardens, and Westwood. The numbers in parentheses are the unduplicated percentage of students. You will see that we identified those schools because they were the next group that needed that extra support. And the partners to the right are just the existing fee-based childcare programs that are already currently running programs on those school campuses. And I am very happy to say that all of them attended our informational meeting on Monday and are very interested in having more conversations about how we can collaborate. This
I
is
have a
just
question. Do you want me to wait till the end or now?
It's up to you.
It was about that. Are you just looking at the fee-based programs that are on site? Because I
No.
noticed that in Bay Point, there's a YMCA, a YWCA, and 2 Head Starts.
They've been invited
Okay.
and they did attend. Yeah, so there is a link in the slide deck. If the community as well as board members, you can click the childcare link. It's like you'll see it coming up. And if you don't see, or a community member doesn't see their program out on, please reach out and we will add them and include them. We actually realized we would want to have some ongoing conversations because this is an evolving thing, and it really is aligned to where we're going around universal TK and pre-K next year as well. Well, let me clarify, we're not going to universal TK across all of our TKs, but over the next 4 to 5 years. Clearly, the only difference for ACES and ELOP is one is grant funded and attendance-based and needs-based, and ELOP is in entitlement funds. One is the ELOP is enrollment and ACES is attendance, so we have to report on attendance. The good news is we can count the same student for both programs, which is awesome. I shared how the schools were identified based on the unduplicated percentage, as well as being very thoughtful about where we're running or proposing to operate TK programs next year. This gives you a snapshot of what a 9-hour day program might look like. It might be an hour before school, 6 hours of traditional school, and then 2 hours of an expanded learning program, or it might be traditional school, 6 hours and 3 hours of an expanded learning program. Summer would look very similar, but that would need to be a 30-day, either 20 days and then another 10 days somewhere else, but that would be, we'd have to offer 30 days. The question has come up from a couple of people around, well, can we spend the ELOP funds on secondary schools? We can only when we've been able to enroll 8,300 of our TK6 students. So we have ideas, and you'll see it in the plan, for the opportunity to spend funds on secondary students, but we'll only be able to do that once we feel very confident that we're going to hit the required enrollment. But we wanted to put it in the plan so that we had that opportunity, because there is a huge need for our secondary students. And you'll see that as career exploration, credit recovery, work-based learning. And so we see that as an opportunity as well. Funds can be used for, I mean, you're going to see, we're proposing the majority of the funds for the expansions. It's a lot of staff, supplies, materials. We are looking at creating some kind of infrastructure around supporting the district-wide capacity. We have a very strong CARES team, but they're one component of the expanded learning program. So we're looking for some support staff, CST staff, some coordinator to help work with me and the team to do district-wide. Even though this is my heart and I would love to probably take that job, I won't be able to do my current job. And then looking at having teachers and counselors and other staff available on a timesheet to support and provide, and working in those before school, after school, and summer programs. And remember, this funding stream can also pay for our TK6 summer program. So students that are enrolled in the summer program that also have access to the 9-hour day. Dr. Clark could be going to an elementary summer program in the morning, but decides not to come to CARES or the other program, he still counts as an enrolled. So we see our summer program plus our CARES program probably hitting about 85 to 90% of our enrolled requirement. Lastly, just gives you a snapshot of what our stakeholder engagement timeline has looked like. We've been talking about it in all of our community and parent advisory meetings. Our board member, student board member has actually put out a survey to get some feedback from that. So we're really excited to hear about that. The LCAP survey has a specific question about expanded learning. As I shared, we talked with many of the childcare providers on the 25th. We're talking to you tonight. We're coming back on the 11th for action. And then on the 17th, we are inviting all types of expanded learning providers. We've already started talking with our instrumental music teachers and our librarians and other VAPA providers in the area to figure out how and if they want to partner with us and how we can incorporate that into expanded learning. As always, we align to the plans. And we've been very intentional about linking educational equity, SEL, and accelerated learning. There is a data piece, so we do have to keep track of the enrollment. And we will use the cycle of inquiry to see what's working, what isn't working, and really identifying, are we serving all students? And then this gives you a little bit of a next step. Once and if you guys approve, then it will be posted on the school, the website, which is required. And then we'll come back and revisit annually what this looks like. And with that, I am done and I'm open for any questions.
I have a couple cautionary tales for you
Yeah,
having
okay.
experience in this. Because it sounds great, but as we know,
Yep.
It's not always like, oh,
They're
welcome
not
to
always
our
happy to
classroom.
Mhm.
We went classrooms that everything was covered with sheets because
Yep.
they didn't want our kids to touch it. They know.
We
They've been
told the
there.
principals that too.
So there's got to be some
Yeah.
kind of prep preparing
Mhm.
our staff and the teachers for, and I'm really concerned about, and I'm sure you can work with your team. I don't want us and them.
Yep.
We're the CARES program
Yep.
or we're not the CARES program.
Mhm.
I really think it's time to bring all of our after school under one umbrella. And my preference would be under one employer, which would be Mount Daigle Unified School District, but that's conversation for another day with Dr. Clark. But yeah, it's exciting to see something that started so long ago
know.
finally taking root.
Yeah.
So with the government, so. good.
One thing to, just to assure the board, as well as you, Board Mason, the CARES team, we've already started the conversations with the principals. We gave that exact example of when we walked in and there were sheets, yes. But the CARES team is meeting individually with the principals and their teams to start that conversation now. We're inviting those principals to come out and walk and see the day at the program. We're also looking for 1 or 2 of those schools to pilot a summer program so they can get it rolling. So I think the years and years of relationships and trust and credibility that the CARES program has created, we'll still get it because people are people, right? But we've talked about all those lessons learned about rotating the rooms that the CARES program's using, or identifying and getting a really strong advocate teacher liaison who works at the school that also partners with the CARES program. Those little things that we've learned that have made a difference. But I do think we're really excited. Of the 6 schools, 3 of the existing principals there worked in the CARES after school program as teacher liaison. So that's going to make it a huge difference. And I do have to give a shout out to Margie Callbeck. She has been the perfect and amazing partner speaking with her principals. The principals are excited. They're just wanting to figure out how we make that work and then really aligning the programs that are currently on the site that aren't CARES, because those are kids too, and we have a long wait list. So we're excited, and I would echo what you're saying, Deborah. I don't think we thought this would happen in 1999 when we started, but it is pretty amazing for the students, and I think it's great for our kids and our families to increase access. So we're open to any questions, and if you have thoughts that come out after, please let me know, because we do want to incorporate and revise that.
Doesn't hurt to have an advocate on the school board either.
I know, right? Yes, it does. It doesn't. We appreciate that.
I had just a quick comment. I know this has taken quite some time, as most great policies that are implemented into schools are, but I know it's one thing for a district to say, you know, our motto is equity. We want all students to have success and pave that path for them. But I think this plan really does back up our motto, as we are making sure each student is set up for success in a sense. So I looked over this plan and I was really, really happy with it. And I can't wait for it to be implemented over the years.
Thank you.
I have questions.
I hope you do.
I know. Yeah. One question I have is partnering with like already existing childcare after school program providers. What changes for the families who currently participate in them?
So
that are at the schools that are new.
So what changes for them in what they're experiencing, or
do they still have do they know that they still have their space next year?
Oh, yeah. So that was one of the questions that came up from the child care providers. Like, does this mean that Mount Diablo is taking over those programs? There are 2 programs. Like, there's a Diana Dare and they're running their program. It's our students. If it's a site that has a CARES program, they're both coinciding. We see a good model of that happening at El Monte, where a lot of times they do shared activities out on the playground. If we bring in an outside service provider who does a presentation, Diana Dare partners. I'm having a separate meeting with Diana Dare's executive director to kind of figure out, because there has been some bumps around nervousness about, will students want to leave and come to the free program? What we found is the childcare programs that are fee-based that have been on our campuses, they're feeling a need that the CARES program traditionally doesn't. They run programs on non-school days. They run before school programs. They might target a more TK level students versus the 3, 4, and 5. We don't have the right answer, but what I assured to them on the call, and the CARES crew were on there with us as well, is we want to figure out how we do this collectively and collaboratively, and in no intention trying to close any doors. And when it comes to like who goes to what program, that's a parent's choice. We can't tell them the parent, your child has to come here. So we don't know yet. And I think it's going to be an evolving conversation. We've done it on a much smaller scale over the last 15, 20 years, but these are some new providers that we haven't partnered with. So I think it's evolving. I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it does, but let me make sure I understand.
Yes.
So at Hidden Valley, because that's where my daughter went, there is the YMCA. And if a family, so do I understand there's the YMCA and now there's going to be CARES? So it's both.
It's both.
So now you're theoretically serving twice the families, because there's never enough. You have to like get on their list.
And YMCA has been so happy because they said we've had a wait list for so long and we haven't been able to serve. So yes, and ultimately it would be the parent's choice to decide which program they attend to go to.
So that was another question. Does every parent have the ability at any of these schools have the ability to choose the CARES program? Like, it's not income based.
No, it's not income based.
It was already selected because their school is selected.
So in the CARES program because we have had a wait list, we do have a process for priority of enrollment. So it does based on need. If a sibling's in there, then we know the siblings need to go, recommendations from the principal and the teachers. So there is a process. So in the event that at Hidden Valley, we have 200 families that want to be in CARES, but we have 100 slots. They will need to go through that process around prioritizing. And it's very explicit about how that's chosen.
did I understand right that it'll be up to the principals to decide who does AM care?
They are putting in their request. And then we're gonna have some information, we'll have more conversation. What we have stated is that CARES is gonna do the expanded learning after school. So if it's a before school program, what we're proposing, and that would be a site-based thing run by the principal and our designee, but it won't be a CARES morning program. So we'd have to figure out what's the interest, what's the cost, and then how much of the ELOT money can we attach for that? Yeah, so yes, if there's a principal, like I said, I've heard from about 5 or 6 right now that are interested in.
That's good. Sorry for all the questions.
No,
So for TK, you mentioned the TK expansion. And so over the next 4 years, by the end of the 4th year, starting next year, they will only be 48 months old, like these youngest children. And I'm curious, you may not have thought about this, but what kind of, how are we making sure that the folks who work in CARES have that ECE background? They're still young today. Like they're really young to me, I'm like, I honestly probably would not have sent my child to an after school program at school unless I absolutely had to, because in my experience after school, my daughter, before we moved here, she went to the rec program and they were all just young adults. And so I know they did not have ECE training. So I'm just curious if you're thinking about in the future, as we get to the youngest possible 4-year-old, they're exactly 48 months old, how the care staff are prepared to provide that early education.
I think our commitment for the entire district for all of our expanded learning programs will be to provide some professional development and support, and partnering with our childcare providers that are in there that have that expertise, as well as our community colleges who have that ECE. So as we're working to develop our expanded learning opportunity plan, it is completely aligned with our universal TK. So we don't have the answer yet, but we also know that our littles, our TKs, can't be showing up for a 9-hour program. And so we're already looking at having, how do we support those AM students who might just need to come for 2 or 3 hours, they wait for their brother or sister, and then they go home. So we don't know, but we know that that's going to be an area of growth for us because we haven't had the 3 and 4-year-olds. But I feel confident that if we don't have the expertise in the care staff, we will be adding that over the next couple of years to serve. And we already currently are serving some TKs. I don't know, I can get you those numbers, but I do think it is a little bit different. And we haven't had the 10-to-1 ratio, which we're really excited about that because I think we can do some really great things across the district, not just in CARES.
Yeah, and the fact that the ratio is changing in the classroom too.
It's a big deal.
Yes. And then finally, on this week, you met with childcare providers, and then it mentions Coco Kids, and you know I'm a huge R&R fan because that's my job. But I'm curious how you engaged Coco Kids.
So I would love to follow up with you after. We tried to get a point of contact there, and we didn't. Okay, you and I are friends. All right, we're going to connect, and then we will make sure that we have a separate conversation and continue that, because it's a huge resource. One of the things that we heard with the childcare providers was, could we create something just in Mount Diablo about for all of our families? These are the childcare providers that are available on campus, off campus, in collaboration with Coco Kids. So I think it's a good beginning conversation with our childcare providers, and I will come chat with you right after I get off the podium.
That was it. And thank you so much, because the way you've always presented the CARES program is very exciting. Even as a parent, no longer of a younger child who would get to go to an after school program, but it makes me excited for the families who do get to have the extended learning. Yeah, because it's so hard to trust people. You know, you're leaving. We have to trust to leave our kids at school with whoever, and then because we have to go to work or school as the adults, we have to trust somebody else to take care of them after school. And I just really appreciate all that your team brings to our program at Mount Diablo.
Well, I appreciate the end of that, the team. It is really them who provides the amazing services for the kids. I just got to be a part of the baby development with Deborah. So it's pretty awesome, and we're happy. So this is really exciting to be continued, and open to any feedback and questions even after, and hopefully we'll see you back on the 11th with an approval. All right.
And this is really late for after-school people to be up.
I know. So yes, thank you guys for coming.
I don't have a question. I just want to say this is really exciting. I'm so excited just to see all of the opportunities for our students in the summertime and with the extended times. And what you mentioned, instrumental music. I know there are definitely people that would like to see
Yep.
that.
I'm already in contact with them.
Among all the other, VAPA and STEM opportunities. So thank you.
Great.
17.4, review of potential approval of reopener agreement between California School Employees Association, Mount Diablo Chapter 43, and Mount Diablo Unified School District.
Dr. Scudero is going to take this item. We'll change the pace here.
Thank you. You notice in this item 17.4, we brought forward the reopener agreement with CSEA. We also brought forward an updated CSEA salary schedule for this year, 21-22. CPL wanted me to make sure that you know that the Contra Costa County Office of Education gave us a response to our AB 1200 today at around 5:30. That's attached now. Staff attached it onto the agenda item so you can see what it says. And we would ask that you move to approve the reopener agreement between the California School Employees Association, Mount Diablo Chapter 43, and the Mount Diablo Unified School District. And we would ask you to move to approve the updated CSEA salary schedule for this year, 2021-2022.
Madam President, I move to approve the reopener agreement between the California School Employees Association, CSEA, Mount Diablo Chapter 43, and Mount Diablo Unified School District.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? If not, Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
Trustee Cowan,
Yes.
Trustee Nzewi,
Yes.
Trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
Trustee Mayo,
Yes.
and Trustee Mason. Yes, okay. Next item is 17.5, review of potential approval of the updated salary schedule, which you just talked about. Teamsters Local 856 for 2021-2022.
That's correct. So on March 23rd, you previously approved the agreement with the Teamsters. This is just an updated salary schedule for this year that includes their 4% retro payment to July 1st, 2021. And we would ask that the board move to approve the updated salary schedule for the Teamsters Local 856 for 21-22.
I move that we approve the updated salary schedule for the Teamsters Local 856 for 21-22.
Second.
Motion is second. If there are no questions, Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
Trustee Cowan,
Yes.
Trustee Nzewi,
Yes.
Trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
Trustee Mayo,
Yes.
Trustee Mason votes yes.
Thank you.
And thank you again, and congratulations to the Teamsters. It's exciting to see it come to fruition.
17.6, review of potential approval of A through G completion improvement grant. In parentheses, it's AG, what is it, CIG? And I believe we had this presentation at the last meeting.
So you did. So we're just bringing it back, but we have Ms. Sachs here. If you have any questions or there's anything additional you want to add, Ms. Sachs.
Absolutely. So this was brought to the last board meeting for a review, and we are certainly taking a look at all of these different activities. This is a very exciting time of year. Congratulations on your acceptance and your committee. Super exciting. There were some questions that came from the board with regards to, the data that we're taking a look at, things such as the percentage of students who are on average, short in English. Was that the reason why they were not A through G eligible, and math and language arts? And really the 5 credits short in English, which is one of the reasons why some of these students were not A to G eligible. That 5 credit is 1 semester. So we're looking at this data in order to ensure that the time and the effort and the resources and all of the activities within the A to G plan are going to be very targeted around some of these areas where we know we need to be shoring up. But again, all of these plans do work in tandem. So some of the conversations around, creating hopefully a secondary extended learning opportunities program, where we can really focus in on providing those, supplemental services for students so they do not fall behind in this manner, is just how all of these things interact with one another. So this is here for tonight for approval.
Thank you.
I'll move to approve A through G completion improvement grant, A through G CIG.
Our expert over there, you. You're the expert who told us last year you need to know early.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
trustee Count,
Yes.
trustee Andewi,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo. Yeah. Trustee Mason votes yes. and- Very good, passes unanimously. 17.7, review and potential approval of classified management job description for food and nutrition services culinary manager position.
We have Dr. Scudero and Mr. Machi is going to present this item.
So this is a job description that Dominic and I have been working on for a while. I thought I'd explain it to you ever so briefly.
Good evening, I'm President Mason, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Clark. This position is very important really to our department to move us to the next level. When you think about it, in school food service in the United States, we're the largest restaurant chain that really doesn't have a chef. We are actually the largest restaurant chain in central Contra Costa County, but we don't have a chef. I am a chef, I will let you know that. But in my role, is a little bit different. It does not require such detail that you develop recipes for 8,000 students that have to be standardized and perfect at each of, say, 29 locations in the elementary school, or those 15 in the secondary schools. The other is, so this year, I was approached by Contra Costa County Senior Meals on Wheels. And I actually had to reject the offer, was for a proposal to take on the whole county for Senior Meals on Wheels. It was too much. We really did not have the infrastructure. We didn't have the people. We didn't just have the trucks. It was a lot. But because of the pandemic, we developed an incredible relationship with the Diablo Region Senior Meals on Wheels program. And through that partnership of the pandemic and of course the city of Concord, they came back to us again. And so they would also, we have a proposal that we would be the subcontractor caterer for Diablo Region Senior Meals on Wheels. They're coming to Loma Vista on May 10th to finalize that proposal, that we would have ongoing about 75 to 85 Latino seniors in central Contra Costa County, that we would prepare ethnic dishes of Latino cuisine that would be provided to those seniors. We also have been approached and will be included is to be the caterer for the Ambrose Center in Pittsburgh Bay Point and to revitalize that program. So with that said, I bring that to you because that's some of the timing that's going on. As far as the opportunity for funding, we're probably looking at an account for another revenue stream of about $150,000 that would come in from Diablo Region Senior Meals on Wheels. It would be an ongoing program. Typically, when you go and you partner with the county, there's usually contracts. So once this proposal is concluded by May 10th, I'll be bringing that forward to you for approval. The other is for this position, I'm just talking right now about funding before I get into role and responsibility. I hit the eye of the perfect storm in the model that I created 18 years ago. We are serving great quality food to our kids. We can do better. There's no question about it. But we're serving good quality food during supply chain issues and labor shortages. We're kind of really holding our own. But on the other hand, we've never seen revenue come through the district through this program really ever, in now going on 21 years for me in December. And so with that said, we are going to have an excess of about almost possibly anywhere I'm thinking between 3.5 to 4.5 million in excess that we are going to have to spend. And so with that said, if that is the case, then I know the California Department of Education is going to require me to come up, which I've already started, basically a spending plan. What are you going to do with this excess money? You can only hold on to 3-month operating expenses in a federal program. So the areas that I have committed to is definitely labor. Number one, we understand that we have our issues, our labor shortages. So I want to thank Dr. Scudero and helping me and supporting that, working with the Teamsters. So we are working through that right now. But the other is to upgrade the quality of food. And so this year we've had a great year that we've introduced grass-fed beef patties, which is from a regenerative ranch. We've introduced Fork in the Road hot dogs, which is sold just the same as the retail Whole Foods. We have oranges coming directly from Sparks Ranch up in Winters in Yolo County. We've already starting to work with the Farm to School program for next year in anticipation of working with farms from Yolo County that we can have, because next year we are going to our salad bars again. I'm fully committed to opening up salad bars in the beginning of the school year. I feel that's extremely important, and it's time because we missed so much of that during the pandemic. Now, as far as the culinary manager position, there's recipe development, which is very detailed. And I will tell you as a chef, there's about 15 steps to the process. By the time we create a recipe, goes through nutritional analysis, meets the USD, does procurement, we buy the food, we cut the PO. There's just so many steps before it actually hits the student and they actually get served in the cafeteria. And this is an opportunity where we can bring in somebody that I can generate ideas, work with me, that we can actually step up. And just to let you know, today and actually tomorrow, I've been at the Culinary Institute of America in Napa in a Plant Forward Culinary Summit, creating plant forward based meals with some of the greatest minds in the United States. They're coming from all over the country. And so it allows us to be that creative that we can actually create better quality food for our kids. We also know that we're going to be renovating, and I don't believe it's come to you yet, but I will let you know a little bit insight, that at Valley View Middle School, we're going to renovate the kitchen. And in my past, what I have done when construction projects become, they bring down a kitchen, there's no kitchen. And there'll be no kitchen at Valley View for possibly during instructional time, at least 2.5 months. And then that's from maybe March to the end of the school year. And then it'll be the same when we open up, maybe from August into September. Maybe we can open up by October 1st. In Davis, I proved Davis Joint Unified, we put in a food truck. And this is something we wanted to do here since I've been here, and it's exciting. And so this food truck is something that would fall into the reins of this culinary manager as well. And with that said, with the food truck, I'd like to eventually, my goal would be to open up a fleet, especially for our high schools, because it's a mirror image of what they're going to see at the university level when they go off to college universities. Because food trucks are so common, even when I've been down to Google and the business institution accounts, food trucks are everywhere. So I think this is going to create a lot of buzz and excitement. So that will also fall into the role and responsibility of this position. Also, the central kitchen will come under this central kitchen as we're taking a look at possibly moving forward. There's some things that I'm looking at right now. So there is some role responsibility to that, is also calling them a forager. So they will be also working with me on the procurement side, and then also supporting the school garden program if needed. We can always put that chef into the school gardens with the kids as a special event for nutrition education because it falls underneath our wellness committee. So there's a lot of role and responsibility with this position, but I think it's time, as I said again, the largest restaurant chain in our area. It's a time that we can afford it because it's a good time to make this investment, and to be able to support our seniors and be a school district to do that. I think it's commendable for us as a district to be able to put that in our community and show how we can support our community, as we're already doing with Contra Costa County Office of Education and many other partners. So that's the purpose of bringing this job description forward, to hopefully be ready for the timeline, because they would like to start July 1st of this year. And also that creates an opportunity for our central kitchen staff, because a lot of them are going to become 12-month employees as well.
So you would actually, through your contract with Meals on Wheels, you'd be providing the food for the CC cafes.
Yes. So some of it is already done through another vendor partner they have in Antioch. There's some
there's some issues.
complexities, I'll call it. They would like us because they really like the quality of our food. They like our service. And this is just a really great model. So we're going to try to continue to do that. But as you can see in our department, there's still a lot of growth and development. And I still want to create as much opportunities for staff, especially my food service staff. We're looking at hours as well to make sure that we retain the people, because I really don't see, we're all talking about it in the industry. This labor shortage for us is probably going to happen for the next 3 to 5 years. I don't see it changing very quickly. So we need this. This is part of our fix, which before the pandemic, we really didn't have these issues, but with the pandemic, new issues arose, and so we're addressing them. So.
We'd like
So
to ask you.
I see that it says info action. I'm curious if the timing matters between this meeting versus our next meeting, what the difference would be in terms of action.
Typically, if it was, usually a pretty straightforward job description, if it's agreed upon, that this is the right move, then we could make that decision tonight. Unless you would like to bring it back, it would just be a second read on the job description. But if you're comfortable with the job description, I don't know if there's any reason why we can't make a decision tonight.
I think the only thing that we heard as a board was that it was new for the Teamsters had not heard about this until it was on our agenda. And so they were curious about the details too. So I think that would be the only thing that would give more time to be able to describe it with them.
Well, we actually informally did have meetings. We've been meeting with the Teamsters for the last 2.5 weeks. So they did know about it. This was really no surprise to them. This doesn't affect them in any way. I think what they feel, there's still leftover issues from the past that Dr. Scudero and I are committed to make sure that we clean up these issues that they seem to be having, which is they don't trust us, that they think that we're going to fix it. We're fully committed to that. And with this position, they did hear about this, so it's nothing new to them. Even though they, there could be some anxiety, if they want sit down detail, they don't understand. I know this is new. School districts, we all say this, we need chefs in our industry because nutrition and food is very emotional to the student. It supports their academic excellence. And so for food service staff that's never been really exposed to this, but they do know about, we've had trainings before, because the other piece of this and the role responsibility is to actually train staff how to serve food out of the wells, how to show food, the quality of food that we're serving, how to work with them as far as production is concerned, to maybe not shortcut, but how to streamline their efficiencies. We all know, even myself as a chef, if I do 10 moves, I got to work on how to get down to 2 to 3 moves. And that's just being efficient. So I think that's where the Teamsters are a little bit, sometimes they go into this dark cloud, my staff, because they don't understand it. If they don't understand it, then they just want to shut it down. But it's all positive. It really is, because to have someone culinary who can work with them on an individual basis, and also, hopefully take a look at our training program and try to work with them in the future and try to help with that, looking at our professional growth and development program. So.
And in terms of what I can see in the job description, it appears that the existence of this job helps some of the revenue stream that you were talking about in terms of Meals on Wheels and these other things to be possible and feasible. So in a way, would you say that the job pays for itself?
Absolutely. And the other is, and I preach this outside of the district, is I say, look, if you scratch cook, if you create those recipes, you reduce your food cost expenditure. Our food cost expenditure right now is 19%. Our labor cost, which we are addressing, is 42%. That is too good. What that means is it's 61% for every dollar coming in, 61 cents is going out. That's too good. So we're trying to adjust that, which is the best interest of Teamsters. And I don't see us with the universal meal program. We are going to continue to make the revenue that we have been making. Our other schools that we never had those customers, meaning some of the Walnut Creek, the Clayton area, the Pleasant Hill, we've never had those customers before. Now we do have them. College Park, 1,800 meals a day. Northgate High School, almost 1,600 meals a day. That's unheard of. We've never done those kind of numbers before. So this position would.
There was one question that came up from the public, and the question was about the approximate number and the fiscal impact. I just wanted to share with the board and answer that community member that it's 100,000, including salary and total comp. So all the statutory deductions and everything are encompassed in that 100,000. So it's not 100,000 salary.
So it includes benefits, for example. Okay.
That would be the full fiscal.
Thank you.
Are you recruiting anyone from Top Chef for this position?
I'm out there.
I believe the goal was to have this person in place by.
Cedar Meals on Wheels, Diablo Region would like us to start July 1. That's what we're a little bit of.
Got it.
I move that we approve the classified management job description for food and nutrition services. Culinary manager.
There a second?
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. There's no other questions. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
trustee Cowan,
Yes.
trustee Nzewi,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
and trustee Mason says yes.
Thank you.
The seniors will thank you, believe me. I've been to Ambrose, they need you. Okay, review the job description for social emotional educational collaborative, or SEC leader position. And this is for information, Dr. Clark.
Yes, we have Dr. Aguila here. If you have any questions, or I don't know if you have anything to present, Dr. Aguila.
No, just that this position was originally created within the MUSPA unit when we brought back the programs from the non-public agencies. We have met with MUSPA. They've also come back with additional questions for us, but we wanted to bring it just for your information before we move for action.
So any board members have any questions about it? Read it or looked at it? Thank you very much. Okay, that takes us to 17.9, review and potential approval of the Williams Quarterly Report for April 30th, 2022. And I think we've all seen that.
No presentation.
No presentation. Well, we're not used to that. Okay. If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I'll move that the board approve ratification of the Williams Quarterly Report, April 30th, 2022.
Second.
We have a thank you for hanging in there till the end, trustee.
Hey.
Okay, here we go. Trustee Fowler,
Yes.
trustee Cowan,
Yes.
trustee Nzewi,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
Yes.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
and trustee Mason said yes. We have no closed session to go back to, so do you want to say something?
Oh, trustee,
Yes, trustee
I
Mayo?
just want to thank you for your patience. While I'm away, I'm attending the California State PTA conference, and I'm presenting in a couple of workshops. And we are considering a resolution on plant-based foods that will help state PTA take positions on the bills that come forward in Sacramento with our legislators. So there's a lot of great work that will be going on in this next several days. So thank you for your patience.
Thank you for your commitment.
Can I suggest a future agenda item?
yes.
Laura Nakamura brought up pedestrian safety around our schools, and I think it'd be interesting to know how safe streets to schools is a federal thing, but yeah, I would like to know what's the crossing guard status at our different schools. And I know that in many schools, it's the school itself that pays for it, or the parents or whatever. So just, yeah, the status of our pedestrian safety around schools, which happened to be my project in public health school.
And that's a real partnership with our cities in each, it's different in every city, so.
I know for Valley View, they used to have a crossing guard. Really? Okay, well,
He's there.
it's not. Oh my goodness. I was gonna impact student.
We'll be talking about that when it comes back to the agenda. That's okay. It was informational at that point. I think on that note, We are adjourned, folks. Thank you for a good meeting. I got a lot of prep.